Happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Friday. Great to be here with you. It has been a long week, for me at least. Padres won a bunch of games. I mean, it's been a great week for the Pods, but it's just been a long-ass week. Ready to get it going today on a Friday. We got 4 hours left for you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Rindo, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, master debater himself. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Last show of the first half of 2024.
Last show, hold on, let it sink in. Last show of the first half of 2024. We are at we're halfway home?
Correct. June is the 6th month, and then this is our last show in June because today is Friday, June 28th, which makes Monday, when we're back, July 1st, the beginning of the second half of 2024.
Never even thought about it that way.
Have you started your Christmas shopping yet?
No. I have you guys started your birthday shopping for me. A few more shopping days.
More of a last-minute guy.
You're going to give me some Ben and Woods golf balls from our golf tournament. I'll take them. I like them. They're great balls.
Venmo you $49.
I don't have any extra ones. I wish I did.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh. Sucks to suck. I got
Imagine not grabbing a couple.
Imagine not grabbing a couple boxes.
I was stuck at the glory hole all day while you were sitting there with all the golf balls, apparently.
Now, when you were interning for Hacksaw, is that a line that you thought that you would deliver on the radio one day? I was stuck at the glory hole all day
long.
and I could not. I never had a chance.
All day long.
I never had a chance to get away. Well, I said I was stuck at the glory hole all day. I couldn't leave.
The workplace regulations surrounding the glory hole are surprisingly strict.
Oh, massively strict.
You don't get breaks. You think, every 2 hours you get like a 15-minute break or something. And I did not get a 15-minute break at all.
You must have been exhausted. I don't know that anybody's ever worked a glory hole for 10 hours straight? Really? I mean, you are a marvel, my friend. Sweet Ben is like, I just wanted to talk NBA, and the next thing you know, I'm working at a glory hole for a golf tournament on a Wednesday, and it's the end of the world over here. Well, listen, how about I bring you some balls, because we do have some left over.
Then it feels like my birthday.
Yeah.
My birthday's not until November, so...
Oh.
But now I have to actually get you a present unless I give those back to you.
Well, I didn't get
I could
you.
do.
I forgot your birthday. So if you want to forget my birthday this year.
That would be the best birthday present you could ever give me, is allowing me to forget your birthday.
So then that would mean, since I forgot your birthday, I think I did. Did we end up getting him something for his birthday or no? I feel like we did. Because we both forgot.
I think you did after the fact. Yeah.
So if I let you forget my birthday, then I don't have to get you anything for your birthday in November?
Correct.
But I
will make that deal right now.
But I already have huge ideas for your birthday in November since I forgot it last year.
Yeah.
I know. Like, my wife's like that. They're like thinking all year of like present ideas that they can give to someone months and months from now. My brain does not work that way. I start trying to think of gift ideas and my brain melts. It just never. I just sit there and I think and I go, "That's dumb. That's dumb. I wouldn't want that."
The chat reminds us that we gave him cash on the air. like I think I gave him a 20.
I gave like $40.
We hugged him.
Oh, that was such an awful day for me and Paulie. It really was, and I think if you've listened to morning radio long enough, you'd probably have heard stuff on other stations where you went, "Come on, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. You guys are embellishing a story." On the eyes of my children, we forgot. I had no earthly idea that it was Ben Higgins' birthday that November. And I will never forget when he looked at me and said, I've got something in the next segment.
Teasing, yeah.
His tease. He goes, "I've got something in the next segment." I said, "Oh, good."
Because I've been waiting 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. And he said, it's a little uncomfortable. And I'm really not sure how to address it. And I'm like, what is this?
I don't know
mine.
what he said in particular that like triggered something in my brain, but we went to break, played Kelly Danick's traffic report, and then Ben had a live read. And it was during the live read that I looked up and I go, what's his birthday? Because I did know it was around November.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was that day, and I called you over.
Yeah, my heart.
Ben's talking on the air, talking about farmer's
dog,
and I'm like, "Is it his birthday?" And we just both went, "Oh my effing!"
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Well, mine's coming up. It's July 19th, so you better not forget. And I guess I can't really let you off the hook because of what I have planned for you. I'll tell you right now, Adam's not going to like it. He's not going to like what goes down here. You probably won't like it either, but it's going to be your fun day. It's on a Friday, but no, my birthday's on a Friday. Your birthday is what, Ben? November?
I think it's also on a Friday.
Is it?
I think we have the same birthday of the week day every single year.
No, yours is.
Mine is. Oh no, it's a Sunday.
Sunday.
We won't be here.
What's the date of it?
November 3rd.
3rd.
Yeah.
That's fine. November 1st is when we celebrate your birthday on the air. Okay.
Do we have enough money in the show fund to send Adam on vacation that day? Maybe.
No. If we have money in the show fund, I'm certainly not spending.
We just need
to
make sure
Adam.
He's not listening.
It's Friday. Adam doesn't. They don't come in on Fridays.
That's true.
They don't come in on Mondays. They're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's quite a life they lead, upper management here at Odyssey. It's really, really something. But no. So, yeah, mine's on July 19th, Ben, for you to remember. And, yeah, it was fun. It's going to be a fun one.
More worried about your birthday, though.
Why is that?
Well, now I've got to think of something.
Yeah, you do.
And my mind is completely blank, as it usually is when it comes to gift ideas.
You get panicked. Trying to think of
Ben,
things
the
I
best
want.
gift idea for anybody in this room is always something we can use on the air for content or anything like that.
Like a gift card.
No,
that doesn't do anything for anybody.
Nothing for the audience. Nothing.
Lowe's Home Improvement gift card. You always like to fix up your house.
You know me. Constantly hauling lumber and whatnot, and getting new saws and stuff, drills. I love drills. The more home improvement gear I can get, the better, I'd say. It will add to my stack of home improvement gear that's in my garage that has barely been opened. Hannah gives me home improvement stuff like most Christmases. Like, a screwdriver set. Fantastic. I'll maybe use it once. Maybe. And the things that I use it for are like, the kid's got one of those toys that have screws in the back that I have to open. And that's really it. I don't put anything together. I don't take anything apart. But yeah, so it's going to be a really fun show today. We have a really, really good show planned. Going to be an interesting show to be sure. I guess I'll just ask the question. Did you guys watch the debates last night?
I mean, we aired them on Channel 10,
yeah, so
as most news stations did. So it was on in the newsroom as I was working last night. I can't say that I really paid much attention.
The only thing I wanted to say about it was that I watched it for 5 minutes, and then I put on Silence of the Lambs, and it was on, and it just started, and I was more.
And you found your candidate.
I was more comforted. I was more comforted by Silence of the Lambs than I was the debate. And, of course, I followed along on Twitter. Now, again, the debates, that's what Twitter was made for. I laughed my ass off. You laugh to keep from crying, but I laughed my ass off at some of the stuff I saw on Twitter last night. I mean, people came to play last night, and it was funny as hell.
I watched maybe 30 minutes. My wife was like, I want no part of this, so I was watching on my headphones, and I did come back, and I go, Megan, if you watch it as a comedy show...
If you watch it as Saturday Night Live, it's one of the best things you'll ever see.
It's outstanding comedy.
It really was.
It was concerning, to say the
least.
Well, I feel like I should just suck it up and just do it.
What?
Be president.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I've been saying this for 6 years.
I don't want to, but I feel like I'll do a good job. So if everyone agrees, why don't we just skip the election? I'll serve the next 4 years. Still going to do this show. I'll bring the equipment with me to the White House.
Okay.
So
from the
Oval Office.
So I'll just set out 9 to 1 Eastern every day.
Can you imagine?
Mr.
President, we don't have time.
Me time, no meetings, nothing. I'm doing the show from 9 to 1. The rest of the time, I'm used to staying up pretty late, and I'll just get the rest of the work done, and we'll just do it.
Do you think? Now I know you have too many morals and scruples to be president, in my opinion, of this country. Do you have the killer instinct, or do you feel like you'd get pushed around by foreign powers? Because I do. I absolutely do. By the way, I feel like I would too. This isn't a shot at you. I feel like we'd be terrible combo in there. whatever you guys want to do is fine. I'm just trying to get out of this meeting. Can we please get out of this meeting? That's what I want. We have a round of golf we want to play today. We have access now to the greatest courses, and I'd like to go play there.
I feel like the President of the United States, you guys love the round table once a week for an hour.
That's all it is round tables.
I think
the whole thing.
Your whole day is round tables.
The worst thing ever.
But there's no pizza, I'm pretty sure.
There's no pizza. Nah, man, I did.
Anthony says Colonel Budget running the country. I will definitely stick to the budget for sure.
You would. No, I don't. I try not to let myself get too bogged down into it emotionally anymore because it really sucks my energy out. And I watched that last night, and I think sad was the way that I felt, and I just said, I'm done. And I put on Silence of the Lambs, and I go, ooh, I haven't seen this from the beginning in a long time. And it remains a fantastic, fascinating movie. Both my kids walked in when Clarice goes to meet, what's his name? Hannibal the Cannibal. When the first time. And they both were like looking at the screen. And when the camera pans up and he's just staring at you, they go, all right, see you later. And they just walked out of the room. They were scared to death. So, that's what I did instead. I watched that. And then I watched some of The Bear to calm me down. And it's an anxiety-ridden show, but it calmed me down.
I wasn't in a good mind space to start it yesterday, season 3.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm going to wait till the weekend and just binge that mother.
I've gotten to the point where I'm now saving it because I don't want to watch it because if I watch it, then it'll be over.
The Bear?
And there won't be another season for like a year. So the longer I can wait before starting it, I can still look forward to it.
Somebody wrote last night after the debate said, whew, watching Uncut Gems to relax after that. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Ben, but that's
like the Adam Sandler.
Yes, and it's movie, like somebody jammed speed in your vein. The whole movie, you're biting your nails, you're rocking back and forth. You're like, oh my God, this is terrible. So that's what we did. We got Major Garrett coming on at 6:35, and lest you think this is going to be it just worked out this way. I mean, really, we weren't. Hey, Major, come on after the debate. I don't want to talk debate with Major Garrett. I'm sure he's over talking about it too. I want to talk San Diego Padres midway point of the season with Major Garrett.
Well, look, he works for CBS News. He works in Washington, D.C. It's an election year. Yesterday was the first presidential debate.
And hopefully last of all time.
Probably not. His schedule is about to get insane over the next, 4 months.
Yep.
So we said, you know what? Let's catch up with him now.
I really didn't mean to do it after the debate.
I think we're his outlet, though. We're his chance to get away from things as well.
We haven't talked to him since opening day.
Yeah, I think we usually do this right at the beginning of the season, middle of the season, and then kind of an end of the season sort of wrap up with Major. So this will be the middle of the season. Take the temperature of how he's feeling and how we're all feeling about the San Diego Padres. They're just past their halfway point of the season. They're currently 3 games above 500. They are currently in the second wild card spot after the St. Louis Cardinals lost yesterday, and on pace to finish with a winning record and about 85, 86 wins, which is what we said it was going to take to get to the playoffs at the end of the season. Now, of course, next week it'll feel completely different because we know how this works, but at the moment, they're right where we want them to be.
Well, our hope is that next week won't feel completely different.
That would be the hope.
That's the hope, And
so far, those hopes have been dashed constantly this season.
Yeah, there's no question. Well, listen, going to be a fun one today. Ben will set the menu for us next. Thank you guys for being here. We love you very much. We don't care what side of the road politically that you're on. I really don't. Just love each other.
I think we're all on the sad side of the road.
Be friendly with each other.
We can finally agree on something in this country.
No, it's just
that was horrible last night.
That was terrible. It was terrible. It really was bad.
Megan was like, "Why are you putting yourself through that?" I'm like, "Well, one of these guys is going to rule the world next year, so I guess I might as well tune in." But
like I said, Silence of the Lambs, more comforting. More that. Oh wait, she great big fat person? That was more comforting to me. The thought of a woman thrown down into a hole so that he could take her skin off. I was like, now that's what I'm talking about tonight.
It's nice, easy viewing.
Nice, easy viewing.
All right, let's check traffic. Hopefully, it won't be anywhere near as bad as yesterday's traffic, and we will get going here on a Friday.
Rimmel?
On San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's also an election year for us. Have you forgotten?
I have not forgotten.
When is our debate?
Somebody suggested, oh, you guys should do an election on the show. Like
we did.
Another show did. And I'm like, we did that last time.
We did. I've been the president now. And my term is coming to an end.
We'll do it again
at the end of the year.
I'm the Secretary of Homeland Exploration.
I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that moniker this year.
Stealing my job this year.
Yeah, I have several vacations left. Vacation Woods is rearing his ugly head this year. So I don't know how much I'll be able to be locked into the job as president. But unless you mind your president being on vacation all the time, and sometimes we don't. It's happened before.
I mean, everybody gets to have a vacation every once in a while. I have no problem with that. So,
yeah, it's when you got the kids and it's summer, you have to do more things in summer than you did when they were little babies, right? Like you have to plan more stuff and go on more things. So I'll be trying to get out of a lot of work using these kids to go on vacation.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, here's what we got coming up on the show today. As you already mentioned, looking forward to Major Garrett checking in here at the bottom of the hour. In fact, we're going to get to that in about 6 or 7 minutes so we can let him get on with his day. But we'll talk some Padres baseball with the CBS News chief Washington correspondent and good friend of the program. That is coming up at the bottom of the hour. I do feel like there is a discussion about the second round of the NBA draft and Bronny James yesterday. That was the biggest story in the sports world.
Woo! Some of the pearl clutching I saw yesterday about the 55th pick in the draft was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Clutching of the pearls from guys like Bomani Jones. Oh, my God, Bomani Jones went nuts.
Really?
Yeah, on Twitter yesterday. Went nuts. This is Clay Travis went insane about somebody with more skills and blah, 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 blah. They've just cost themselves. Yeah, we went.
I see that their point.
That's fine. It's
at its core.
But we went and looked up what the 55th.
Like Jaden Ledee is a better basketball player,
Correct.
a better pro-ready basketball player than Bronny James.
Correct. But no other teams wanted Jaden Ledee either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had plenty of opportunities to be
He's just
drafted.
the only name I could think of that didn't get drafted.
I went and did the research on the best 55th pick in NBA history. These names are not going to blow your hair back, everybody. Bomani Jones, Clay Travis, just relax.
It's like Sean wrote into us a few minutes ago. He's like, you guys are missing the point here. The big story is the Lakers. They wasted a top pick.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
That's not a top pick.
I think more people are mad because they feel like it's the player who's running the team and not the team that's making their own choices.
Yes.
Now, if I was an attorney and the evidence, and I had the evidence in front of me, I'd say, all right, we have a new head coach. He has never coached anything above elementary school. He's also your podcast partner. All right, we hired him. So that's one. Your Honor, submit this for evidence. Number two, we drafted your son, who averaged 4 points a game and 1 rebound in his 1 year of college. And we took him with the 55th pick. Your Honor, I rest my case. Now, I understand that narrative as well. But again, when you're talking about the 55th pick in the draft, you're putting Bronny James up against names like Mark Blunt, Mark Lavaroni, Kenny Gaddison, Etwan Moore, and Patty Mills, who's probably the best of the bunch. He scored about 8,000 points. He's got 15 years under his belt. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
But that's one in how many? I mean, how many drafts have there been? So I think people want to get up in arms because, well, it's something to talk about, and it's LeBron James. And coming from me, I do not like the Lakers at all. I couldn't care less. And by the way,
it's fascinating. There's aspects of it, like Rich Paul calling the other teams and saying, hey, if you draft Bronny, he's going to go play in Australia. He's not going to play for you.
Like, I love my son. I would love to do a show with him one day or have him on our adult ball. I'm hanging on until he turns 18 so I can play a tournament with him. I love that. I think that's great. So I have no problem with it at all. Do what you got to do. And if you hate the Lakers, this is a good thing for you. You love this. You love this. You're like, oh, cool. definitely got the headlines yesterday for sure.
Well, yeah, biggest pick of the draft is rarely one of the final picks.
Right.
And that ended up being, obviously, the most talked about pick of the entire draft. So I do have some thoughts. We will keep them to a minimum, of course. In our 7 o'clock hour, Take on Woods, Don't Do This. We're going to look ahead to this Padres-Boston Red Sox series. And then second half of the show, of course, it's Friday, which means it's a Cespedes Family Barbecue Friday. Jordan Schusterman going to be with us at 8 o'clock, presented by Grand Ole Barbecue. We'll talk about what's going on in the game of baseball. Ryle Report at 8:30, and then 9 o'clock. Yeah, we'll let him come in, and we'll just tip our cap to the San Diego Padres and Mike Shildt after probably the best week of the season. He can come in, and he can feel pretty good about what the Padres have done over the last 7 days or so, and we'll chat with Mike Shildt from Boston this morning as he gets ready for a road trip and see if the Padres can carry over some of that momentum from these last two series into games against the Red Sox and the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers.
I'm going to be honest with all of you guys. I've been thinking since yesterday when I got out of here. I'm like, we got Shildt on tomorrow. What can I say to get under his skin? I've got some ideas. We'll flesh them out.
What's up, my dude? How you doing?
We're good, bud. How are you? He's going to get pissy for some reason. It's usually me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to ask, I need to think of something to needle him a little bit.
Well, I mean, we got to talk about the ejection.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
Not throwing Mackenzie Gore out of the game. And everything that's gone on in the last few days.
I mean, that's all good stuff. He crushed, for as much grief as he got about the John Boy ejection, he crushed this ejection, I thought.
All right, let's take a quick time out because I want to get to Major Garrett coming up next and get him on the air, get him talking some Padres baseball because I always enjoy his perspective. We'll do that when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
3 the fan. I don't know where Benjamin is. He's maybe on the toilet or something. I have no idea. But let's get traffic, and then we'll get right to...
What is happening?
I have no idea. We'll get right to our pal Major Garrett, CBS News Chief White House Correspondent, next on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Good morning. Off to a pretty quiet start. We've got one problem, however. This is a motorcycle accident westbound 905 on La Media Road off-ramp. This was touched off by an orange cone that someone left in the roadway. Apparently, this motorcyclist hit that. So several cars pulled over to assist that rider, and a tow truck is going to be needed there. That's La Media Road off-ramp, westbound 905. Else around the county, it's looking nice and quiet. Viejas Casino and Resort is home to the best players club, and My Viejas. Start earning points toward incredible rewards like free gifts, concert tickets, hotel stays, dining discounts, and more. It's time to ditch the other guys and join the best, the My Viejas Players Club, Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, and joining us now, live from D.C., our pal, one of the biggest, if not the biggest Padre fan we know, Major Garrett. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Man, we are good. We are good. Just, needed the night off last night. It's been a whirlwind around Petco Park the last few weeks.
I'm just laughing. You guys had a night off. I didn't have a night off.
No, last night was not a night off for you. I told the guys earlier, I said, I watched 5 minutes, and then I went and I watched Silence of the Lambs and I felt a little bit better about the future of our country.
Exactly. Or Full Metal Jacket or something.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket,
yeah,
exactly.
Like
Exactly. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Look, I think probably where a lot of your audience is. I'm excited about where this team is. I mean, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, you don't have Darvish for most of the first half. You don't have Musgrove. You don't have Bogarts. And you've got 44 wins, same as the Braves. Only 2 teams have more wins than the Padres, the Phillies, and the Dodgers. Would you take that?
Yeah.
And I would say yes.
Good perspective.
Not to mention dramatically better performance with runners in scoring position, dramatically better performance in close games, dramatically better performance in extra inning games, leading the major leagues in bunt base hits. Not a statistic we typically celebrate, but one that's important about how you put pressure on another team. I like where we are. I really do.
Good morning, Major. It is good to talk to you as always. My question to you is, has Mike Shildt been what you've expected he was going to be as the Padres manager?
Better.
Okay.
Better. I fully expected that he would be rigorous on preparation process and team unity, and he has been. What I have been very surprised on the upside with is not only his ability to put that in the clubhouse, translate that from the clubhouse to the field, and then talk to the Padre public about why it's working and not to freak out when you feel like freaking out, because all of us are traumatized by the memories of last year. I know Bob Melvin is a very respected and accomplished manager. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Shildt has a more positive and more direct explanation for what he's doing, why he believes it will work, and why he's not going to be deterred. And for a fan base, I think that's super important. It's not only important for the fan base, it's important for the players to know that the manager has their back and will talk to the public about what's going on in a way that supports them, reinforces them, and is credible. And I think Shilt's very good at all those things.
And it's funny, talking to Major Garrett here, I try. We have him on every Friday, and I try to get him to say nothing. I'm not asking him to be negative or throw one of his guys under the bus, but I will try to get him to say we could improve in that area. He won't do it. And
anything critical.
I do understand the reasoning behind it. And I think Padre fans, a lot of them do as well. You've seen this clubhouse, splinter the last couple of seasons. You've seen, the like everything fall apart and they go off a cliff. I kind of understand the reasoning of, nope, not going to do it. I'm gonna pat these guys on the butt. I'm gonna pat them on the back, especially in public. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Certainly, we're not privy to that, and he's not going to share it. And Manny won't share it, and Jerkson won't share it. They're really tight-lipped this year. That's one thing I have noticed. You're not hearing any whispers coming out of A lot of, this guy's mad at this guy. I find that it's quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite, but I thought Jurickson Profar gave a very important interview to Kevin Acee last week before the Padres got on their good run. And he said the team needs to play better. The team needs to have more leadership and execute better and win winnable games. Profar said that as an emerging team leader. He wouldn't have said it if he didn't believe that Manny would back him up on that, and Mike Shildt was okay with that. It's better when the players give that kind of interview, particularly a all-star caliber player, as Jurickson Profar undoubtedly is this season. Having him say it and having no one in the clubhouse refute it or talk behind his back or anyone go to Shildt and say, what do you think about that? It all felt consistent, even though it was, at the margins, critical of how the Padres came off that road trip, deservedly so. That's another dynamic that I think is important and reinforces that this team, for whatever set of reasons, and a lot of it comes to the manager, a lot of it flows to the players, is a much more coherent unit, much more collaborative unit. And look, success reinforces that. You get walk-off wins, you suddenly feel things are possible. You watch other teams walk you off, you start wondering if anything is possible. We've turned the corner on that.
Major, we also all tended to agree that Manny had a big leadership moment when he stepped in with Jurickson, behind home plate with Keibert Ruiz. And I don't know if there's any talk of the other side of this. People are curious, in Washington, D.C., you've got a bunch of things going on probably other than listening to sports talk radio or commentary on what happened this week. But it felt like a perhaps at least a defining moment for this clubhouse and for Manny Machado in particular as well. What happened against the Washington Nationals earlier this week?
So Nats fans, and I sort of dip in and out of that world. I'm a nominal Nats fan because my kids grew up here in D.C. and I freed them. I said, you have a hometown team. It's a great thing in life is to be able to root for your hometown baseball team. I'm raising you as Padre fans. I'm now releasing you. We didn't have a ceremony, but I kind of communicated that to them, So I dip in and out of the Nats. Nats fans are not big on Keibert Ruiz. They don't think he's a strong defensive catcher. Offensively, he's kind of a wash. And they thought he stepped way out of his lane. And I, for one, do not understand how an umpire in the major leagues can watch a player touch another player at home plate and not throw him out immediately. You cannot do that. Under any circumstance, you cannot take your mask off, get in another player's face, and start poking him in the chest. Why is he still in the game?
Yeah.
And that's why Manny came up, because he saw Jurickson was doing the thing he told everyone afterwards. I'm not going to get thrown out of this game. I'm not going to lose my cool. But Manny came in and said, hey, you can't touch my guy.
I love
and
that.
Then Profar gets hit and everyone, is it intentional or not? He got hit. You gave warnings. Something should have happened. And then you run Shildt. So then Manny is right in this moment where everyone is really pissed off. Everyone is pissed off in that stadium. I'm freaking angry at home, 3,000 miles away. First pitch, in the seats, take that and fill in your own expletives, okay?
Well, speaking of expletives, what Jackson Merrill said about it after was that's how you effing lead. I'm not saying he had to hit homer, but right there off the bat, effing first pitch, ready to go. That's how you effing lead right there. That's effing electric. I love this kid, too. I love this kid. You hear when Manny was slumping a couple of weeks ago, all you heard was, he's a terrible leader. And I'm like, man, he's clearly rubbed off on Jackson Merrill. He's clearly hitting the ball better. Maybe he's feeling better. We all kind of knew. Right. I kind of knew it's going to come. He's got it in him. And I think the power is still going to come for Manny, hopefully this weekend. But I thought that was really special, man. The young.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was by far the most electric moment of the season. I hope there are moments that will come close to that. But I don't think anything can surpass that in that moment. And look, Major League Baseball lives and dies on the margins of centimeters. A month ago, Manny gets that same pitch and fouls it back.
Yep.
He's just off a tick. That night, he was dialed in, saw it, hit it, and that shows that his work, his progress is getting him closer to the player that all Padre fans remember and want to see again.
So, Major, now as the calendar switches to July, the trade deadline is coming up in a few weeks, and the Padres, like most teams right now, are going to be in the market for some help. They're not going to be able to afford everything, though. Starting pitching would be nice. Another bullpen arm would be nice. And with Tatis out, for an extended period of time, another bat would be nice. Assuming they can't do all of that, where's your priority lie as a Padres fan?
Look, I am stung. I have been stung the past 2 years by outsized expectations about the players we bring in changing things. And we have to look at Jackson Merrill and take pride in our player development. He's ours. We developed him. He's a star, already a star. Remember that. Not only is he a star, he's cheap, okay? We developed him himself. That's what you get. You don't have to give anything up. You have to pay huge free market ransom for a player like that. I don't want to say stand pat because that's not what A.J. Preller is going to do, but I don't want any of our remaining top prospects traded. I just don't. I want them to stay in the pipeline. I want them to believe in their process of player development and harvest them as we did Jackson Merrill. Watching C.J. Abrams reminded me of what a great player he is, how much this roster would be different. And let's be honest, when Bogaerts and Tatis and Musgrove and Darvish come back, as we all hope they will, that'll be like making a trade.
Yeah, we hope. I mean, I feel like I've delivered that line to our audience many times as well over the last couple of years. And they bought on the margins last year. That didn't work out. I thought Scott Barlow was fine. But if you could find a way to grab another Scott Barlow, somebody like that can shore up, the back end-ish of your bullpen, I think that's okay. But when it comes to Salas and DeVries and the huge splashy move, I'm with you. I watched Leo Dallas the other day hit his first home run. We talked about it off the air. Pitch up in the zone. Dude, he hammered this thing and then had the emotion, looked at the dugout. I was like, oh, that kid is 17 years old, 18 years old. I've watched Ethan Salas in person, and I thought to myself, no. We need to be patient with these guys. But honestly, after those two, I'm like, all right, we can continue to make moves as long as people.
But everyone's going to ask for those two.
I know.
Everyone's going to ask for those two.
I know.
And we just got to say, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, stand pat. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Major, really appreciate it. I know you've got a very busy schedule with everything that's going on, but I can tell that our listeners were extremely, extremely enthusiastic to hear from you this morning and appreciate your perspective. As always, it's a great one, and thank you so much for your time.
I'm always here for you guys.
Thank you, brother. Love you, man. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Great stuff with Major Garrett, as always, and really optimistic. A really positive outlook on where the Padres are at the halfway point of the season. Yeah. Sure. I think when he says, you get a better record than every team but the Phillies, Braves, Dodgers, and Brewers, wouldn't we have all exactly signed up for that at the midway point of the season? Yes. I think that's 100% true.
You're also talking about a down Braves team, but that's okay. There's nothing you can do. You handled business against those guys.
I think the counter is, of course.
And the Brewers.
In 1 week, will they still have that record?
Correct.
Because they fluctuated. They've had that record, and then they've been behind a few other teams that they probably shouldn't be behind, given their talent level where they are. Can they hold on to where they are? The positive momentum, what they have done this last week, can they finally just go through a stretch where you don't have to play like you've played the last 7 days all season long? No team is going to do that. Can you avoid giving it back, though? The 5-in-a-row losing streak, the 6 out of 7 to drop you back 3 games under 500. Can you just play over the next 10 games? 5-5 or 6-4 is fine. You don't have to go 9-1. You had a really nice stretch here. Just don't give it back as you go forward. Just give us some standard ball for a while. It's a road trip. No one expects you to go 5-1, 6-0 to Boston and Texas. Try not 1-5 though. Please, just please here. Don't swing the pendulum back the other way.
You're begging at this point.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit of begging to it. I'm not. It's the old. What's the parent? I'm not asking for that much here. I'm just asking for something very reasonable, and that is, don't swing all the way back the other way this time, and just swing back to the middle. The pendulum just goes back right to the middle, not Not all the way. You don't have to fall back to 500 every time you get above.
Right.
Let's just hold on to some of these hard-gotten gains over the last 7 days.
Yeah, man, and it's, obviously it's easier said than done, and you're going up against a Boston team they're hungry as well, and I think they're probably overachieving a little bit this season. They're going to want to take it to you, and they've got good pitching, so it's going to be an interesting series, one that I absolutely hope we go into Fenway and take 2 out of 3. I think we're capable of it. I've not played well on the road recently, but we have played well on the road this season, and we've beaten good teams consistently. We really have. And so, I like our chances as much as I always have, which is to say they absolutely can have a really successful road trip.
It does worry me that the starting pitching depth can always unravel a season.
No question.
And the price tag for starting pitching is going to be high. It's going to be a top prospect, the kind of guy that Major Garrett doesn't want to give away at this point. So maybe you don't, and you just continue to roll the dice that Yu Darvish will come back, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. We don't know if that's true or not. Hopefully Joe Musgrove will come back at some point in the next month and a half or 2. We don't know that that's true. I do remember what happened in 2021. Nothing can unravel a decent season faster than all of a sudden realizing we only have 2 quality starting pitchers, and the rest of the time we are just throwing someone out on the mound and hoping the rest of the week. We saw what happened in 2021 when they did that. Is there depth? Is there enough there that if they don't make a move, that they can survive for the rest of the season?
I think the answer is no. I think the answer is a hard
So you need bullpen
no.
and starting pitching.
You really do. And I think it can be found.
The price tag is going up now.
I think it can be found. I really do. I think it can be found.
It would really help if about 3 or 4 teams went on a losing streak and felt like we're sellers now, as opposed to just the small handful of teams that are currently offering players, because that really makes it hard even for the creative A.J. Preller to pull off a good deal. Because there's so many teams that want pitching, and there are so few teams that are offering pitching. The price tags are going to be exorbitant right now. And I don't want to pay exorbitant price tags for mediocre players, for buying on the margins. They've pulled off 2 really big moves already.
I know.
Probably smart to do them early.
100%. 100%.
But now it's going to be even tougher, I think, to bring an impact player in at this point of the season.
It is. It's going to be tough for every team, and there's going to be a lot of teams, ripping the phones right now, looking for the help that they need as well. So we did traffic. We're good. Yeah, we're all set.
Sorry,
that's all right.
In the restroom for a little while.
That's all right. How'd that go?
It's fine. I'm good now.
You got the trots?
No, I'm okay. It was fine.
Well, all right.
It's a fast break. It felt like.
No, it was regular.
You did a good job. That's what a president does. Appreciate that. Stepping up, filling your duties.
Was that what you were doing? Was filling your duties
Ben
in there?
No, I was clearing them.
All right.
Life is good.
Life is very good. Just waiting on that music to start.
We still have another 30 seconds before the start of the music. I'm good on the clock. I'm better than you on clocksmanship.
Still don't know the clock
when it comes to the show.
You're right.
That's all right. Okay, coming up in our next hour, we'll have some Take on Woods, chance to qualify for that trip to Las Vegas. Fontainebleau, really good prize this month. Concert tickets, $150 poolside dining credit for while you're there. That's coming up in our next segment. Don't Do This is going to be along as well. I know power rankings don't mean anything, but I thought there was some interesting insight from the ESPN crew on the Padres that came out yesterday that I want to talk about in our 7:35 segment.
Yeah, and I sent Paulie some audio yesterday of Mark DeRosa talking about the Padres as well on MLB Network.
I'm always curious what other people are saying about our team.
Mark DeRosa is like one of our biggest cheerleaders. I like him. We should get him on the show.
All right, that's coming up in our next hour of Ben and Woods. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. feel like every hot take on LeBron James that could ever be uttered was uttered yesterday.
Yeah,
Good, bad.
I saw people just soiling themselves
And
about
they're
this
not
yesterday.
and they're not wrong.
I think everybody had fairly measured opinions about it, but you heard the term Nepo baby thrown out
100%.
a lot, and I don't know that you can deny that, right? Is that would you'd be foolish to say
Yes.
this is not nepotism?
If it was Bronny Smith and he had just finished his first season at USC and averaged 4.5 points per game in 18 minutes, there's no chance he'd even be coming out for the NBA draft.
Correct.
But that his name isn't Bronny Smith. It's Bronny James. And pedigree is a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't completely ignore that. He has access to the greatest basketball player possibly on the planet.
Sure.
Certainly one of the three
top
greatest
three, yeah.
that have ever lived. He has the unqualified 100% support of the greatest player ever. Now, Michael Jordan's kids didn't turn into Michael Jordan, and it doesn't always follow that just because he's related to LeBron James, he's going to be anything like him. In fact, it would be almost impossible to be there.
Not almost. It is. He's not going to be LeBron James, right?
But he was a very highly touted high school prospect with
top 20 I think,
with some really good possibilities ahead of him. Has he reached them? Of course not. He's still probably multiple years away from even coming close to that, especially after the cardiac arrest, setback that he had to go through. When it comes to the, players running the team aspect of it, that is also 100% true. Not every player, in fact, almost no players in the league would have the cachet or the authority to even engineer this to happen. They wouldn't even have the temerity to ask for it. Yeah, my son, hey, my son's in college as well. We should draft him. Well, did he have a good season? Well, he's coming off the bench for a sub 500 team and it didn't make the NCAA tournament. The obvious answer, of course, is going to be no. We're not going to use even a second round draft pick on someone like that.
Yeah.
However, it's also assumed that I think when people are going, you shouldn't let LeBron make these decisions. LeBron is not only a great basketball player, he's also very savvy and smart about the game of basketball. There's no reason to think that LeBron doesn't know as much or more than Rob Pelinka or Jeannie Buss or anyone. There's no magic in it. There's no magic in knowing what's the best for the team. In fact, he probably does. And is it selfish?
Doesn't he have
Is
the
it
trump card
self-serving?
on Rob Pelinka anytime
if
they ever get into a debate and he goes, "Oh, really, Rob? How many NBA Finals have you played in?"
Right.
And if I'm Jeannie Buss, I'm the owner of the Lakers. I feel like you could do worse than just listen to what LeBron James wants and say, you know what? That's how I'm going to run my organization. I'm going to give full faith to my superstar who's brought me a title, who has been a great ambassador for my organization. I want him to be a Laker for life, the rest of his career. And then after his career, I want him to represent my colors. And if having his son on the team is a way to ensure that for a good chunk of time to the future, it's probably well worth the 55th overall pick in the draft just to make that statement to LeBron James that you are the most important person in our franchise right now and will be going forward. I'm okay with that.
I'm going to need Adam Klug to put Bo and Taylor on the payroll here, ASAP, just so you know. It's coming. The ask is coming. Michael, if you're listening, going to have some different demands at the next contract negotiation.
97 tweet a fan. Who's this?
97 tweet.
I see the Laker haters in the chat. I hope this ruins the lame curse.
Well, the lame curse.
Not
heard that.
There's not much to ruin right now.
No.
They are in a transition period that's going to be painful, just like it was when Showtime ended, just like it was when, the Shaq, Kobe, Pau Gasol era ended for a while. There's going to be a painful transition coming up.
Right.
I would rather have LeBron James on my side during that painful transition than, perhaps making an enemy of him or driving him to a different organization. That's my 2 cents as it. Admittedly, Lakers fan and, Lakers part of the Lakers family growing up. My 2 cents on that is I'm okay with how this played out. I really am. Yeah. Do I think that LeBron and Bronny James are going to win a title here? No, of course not.
You would have been pissed if the Lakers traded up to 5 and drafted him early in the first round or something.
It actually worked out perfect for him. 55th pick in the draft.
That is a nothing.
Pretty happy with who they got in the first round. Guy who fell from the lottery to them.
Who
they
was
can
it?
help. Dalton Connect, the SEC Player of the Year from Tennessee.
Nice.
It'll be a bigger story when he's actually on their opening day roster because there will be a better NBA-ready player in their system.
Yeah, I mean, and somebody made the point yesterday. So will LeBron be okay if he's not on the opening day roster and he's playing in the G League? I don't really think LeBron has a choice, and I think that would help kind of calm things down a little bit if, in fact, he's not ready to contribute. You say, we're going to go play in the G Leagues for a while.
And I think LeBron, honestly, probably would be okay with that.
100%.
He's not coming back to play the opening week and then retire just because he wanted to play with Bronny for one game.
He's
in it for the long
if he's
haul.
Insisting that Bronny needs to be in the starting lineup from day one so they can play together, then we do have a problem.
Yeah. All right. This is way too much basketball talk. Jeez,
way too much basketball talk. All right, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. Join us right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. One of those days when the Padres don't have a game, it does draw your attention to some different things that you wouldn't necessarily pay attention to. Watch some of the soccer game yesterday, USA against Panama.
Oh, man. All right, so I need you to explain to me, what is this tournament?
So the Copa America is basically like the championship of North America and South America. It's for the non-World Cup even years. So the World Cup is every 4 years like the Olympics, and then in the middle year between, they do the Euro, which is going on right now, and they're doing the Copa America, which is like our version of the Euro.
Okay.
It's a country, like an international, represent your country, just like it's basically the World Cup teams, but instead of playing against the world, you're just playing against your region to crown kind of an interim champion in between World Cups. But it's a pretty big deal in soccer. It's your biggest tournament you're going to have between World Cups for international play.
But this result doesn't affect anything in the World Cup or for the Olympics or anything like that, right?
It's its own tournament.
Just its own tourney. Okay. Cool.
But I mean, this is what you've been preparing for the last 2 years essentially for. The next 2 years will be for preparing for the next World Cup. But the last 2 years, ever since you got eliminated from the World Cup, you're like, okay, we're retooling team, whatever, with the eye on the next Copa America in a couple of years. So this is big.
Okay.
And if they don't advance out of group play, which if they lose on Monday to Uruguay, who's the best team in their pool, so they very well could lose, it's going to go down as a pretty epic failure.
Another one.
You should definitely be getting out of at least the group round into the knockout stage. So this will be considered a failure. A lot of people are excited about that. They'll feel like maybe you can change coaches before it's too late. Still think Greg Berhalter is not the right guy for this team.
Like that guy. I see many tweets about Greg Berhalter. And I did see the red card that was given out yesterday, and Berhalter was not pleased about that. Talking about a silly mistake. Man,
Tim Weah, especially early in the match.
And when we flipped it on, it said, playing with 10 or man down or whatever. And I said, oh my God, how do you get a red card there? And then the collision, the 50-50 ball, Ben, between one of their guys and our goalkeeper. That looked like a free safety hitting a guy.
The thing is, it's you have to know when you're playing Panama, international soccer people will say they're a pretty dirty team.
Yeah.
And that's part of their strategy. They know, hey, we're Panama. We're not exactly the elite of the elite when it comes to world soccer. So how are we we're going to get under the skin. I mean, Panama had like 6 times more fouls than the United States. They're going to play rough. They're going to play dirty, and they're going to try to get in your head and get you to make a mistake.
They did.
That perhaps they can take advantage of, and it played out perfectly. Their strategy played out perfectly against the United States. You can't let an inferior team dictate and get in your head and make you play the wrong way.
Yeah,
and that seems like what happened in that game.
That's such a gnarly thing, by the way. Like, imagine if you argued with like Bryce Harper goes out and chews out an umpire, and they're like, boom, red card. You're out.
8 on 9.
8 on 9. You have to slide somebody over, like in adult league, when only 8 guys show up. You're like, we'll go 2 outfielders. I need you to slide from short to second on this lefty. Like, Now that makes baseball
that would
interesting.
that would be so funny. You get 2 players ejected. Okay, we're now 7 on 9
we have 7
the
guys
rest of the game.
1 outfielder out there, like
you'd probably see a lot
3
less.
infielders, 2 outfielders. How are we going to do this the rest of the game?
You'd see a lot fewer bench clearing brawls.
You'd see a lot fewer jawing at the umpires too. If you knew that I could get red carded, and I'm out, and we can't replace me. Auto out in the lineup. Holy smokes.
We still need a contestant for Take on Woods. Got to be someone out there who wants to try to qualify for that fantastic trip to Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. Please call right now, 833-288-0973. Got Don't Do This coming up. We got some audio at 7:30, as you said. Mark DeRosa on MLB Network talking about the San Diego Padres. We'll get to the pitching matchups for this upcoming series as well. And then it's a Friar Friday, which means at 9 o'clock, Mike Shildt will join us from Boston, Massachusetts, as the Padres get ready to take on the Red Sox. Did you tell me that Jesse Agler has never called a game at Fenway Park before? I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah, Jesse Agler told us yesterday in his newsletter that this will be his first time broadcasting at Fenway Park, which for a broadcaster, I mean, it's like one of the meccas, you know. You think about Wrigley Field, you think about Fenway Park, and getting to do that, and he's pretty fired up, man. And that'll be tonight. We can be able to watch him on Apple TV. We can remember, Ben, you told us yesterday how to do it. Go to
the audio settings and switch it to the 97.3 Padres home radio feed, and it'll be synced up for you when you watch the game tonight on Apple TV.
I'm so happy for him, man. He's been in this game a long time, and to never get a chance to go do that is pretty special.
All right, got some people calling in for the game. Let's get to it. It is time to play Take on Woods. All right, let's go to line 2 here. Who's on the air here? Caller, you're up for Take on Woods. Who's this?
Hello, this is Thomas.
Thomas! All right, you're in. Thank you for calling. Woods has left the studio. So we've got 5 questions of musical trivia, and if you beat or tie Woods, we'll put you into the drawing for our 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, tickets to Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins, and the $150 poolside dining credit. Get your rooms and summer packages at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. By the way, Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. All right, Thomas, here are your categories. We got Keep the Change, song titles that include a type of coin in the name. We got You're Making Me Crazy, 5 song titles that include the word crazy. And we've got a Bob Marley category today. So Keep the Change, You're Making Me Crazy, or Bob Marley. Thomas, what would you like to play?
Let's go with Bob.
All right, Bob Marley. He's going right to our new category today. Yeah, today's category all about reggae legend Bob Marley. 5 questions, 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, you can pass. First questions are 2-second song. Obviously, it's going to be a Bob Marley song, so you just need to give me the title on that one to score the point. We'll go on from there. Pass if you don't know. Again, you can come back if there's time left on the clock. Thomas, you ready to play?
Absolutely.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock in the category Bob Marley. Thomas, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's Take on Woods.
Don't worry.
It's not what that song is called, but good try. Which 1965 song not only became the first international hit for Bob Marley, but the title would become a worldwide mantra on T-shirts, tattoos, and bumper stickers?
No Woman, No Cry?
Incorrect. The live version of which Bob Marley classic ranks number 37 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Writing credit was given to Marley's friend Vincent Ford, who used royalties to fund his soup kitchen.
I'm going to pass.
Oh, you just said it. Bob Marley was a prominent member of which Afro-Jamaican religious and social movement that involves the ritualized smoking of ganja, a.k.a. cannabis?
Rastafari?
That is correct. Eric Clapton's cover version of which 1973 Bob Marley song reached number 1 on the charts in 1974 and landed in the Grammy Hall of Fame?
Oh, man, that was 5 years before I was born. I got to pass.
All right, go back to you see, now if you had said No Woman, No Cry for the third question, that would have been correct. You only got the one, though. Three Little Birds is the title of Don't Worry, is what it's called, by Bob Marley and the Wailers. One Love is the mantra. T-shirts, Hannah Nancaro tattoos, bumper stickers, Rastafarianism, you got that. And I Shot the Sheriff is the Eric Clapton cover of Bob Marley. I don't know it's going to be enough, Thomas. I do appreciate your attempt, but see how Woods does. I'm anticipating he'll do well in this category. We'll see. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Thomas.
It's Bob Marley. What's the name? Three Little Birds.
Correct. Which 1965 song not only became the first international hit for Bob Marley, but the title would become a worldwide mantra on T-shirts, tattoos, and bumper stickers?
One Love?
Correct. The live version of which Bob Marley Classic ranks number 37 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Writing credit was given to Marley's friend Vincent Ford, who used royalties to fund his soup kitchen.
Pass.
Bob Marley was a prominent member of which Afro-Jamaican religious and social movement that involved the ritualized smoking of ganja, a.k.a. cannabis?
I'm blanking like a madman. Rasta.
Correct. Eric Clapton's cover version of which...
I Shot the Sheriff.
Correct. The live version of which Bob Marley Classic ranks number 37 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time.
Redemption Song.
That is incorrect. You got 4, which is good enough for the 4-1 win today.
I think I got 3.
You got 3.
You got 3.
Yeah.
He didn't get No Woman, No Cry.
No.
That was the one.
No
what else
Cry.
didn't you get?
I missed that
Oh,
one.
you didn't get I Shot the Sheriff?
I got
Shot
that
that
Sheriff.
one. You got Rasta. You got Three Little Birds. You got One Love. You got 4.
Oh, I got 4.
You got 4. 4. Yeah, No Woman, No Cry was the...
Love that song.
Was the middle one. But Bob Marley category goes to Woods today.
Might get lucky tonight.
Thomas, thank you for playing. We'll have some new categories. And
Ganja,
a.k.a. cannabis.
What a drop! What a drop! Let me hear it again. That's so good.
Ganja, a.k.a. cannabis.
That's fantastic.
There's something inaccurate about what I said?
No, not at all. It's just...
Big bomber class before busting on me head.
For those people who weren't sure what ganja was, I just wanted to be...
A.K.A. cannabis.
Ganja, a.k.a. cannabis. Also known as...
Weed.
Weed.
Smoke. Pot. Grass. Lettuce.
Like,
Hippie lettuce.
Hippie lettuce.
I was gonna
The
just
devil's
cut
lettuce.
it with ganja,
Ganja.
but it's the AKA.
Ganja,
cannabis.
a.k.a. cannabis.
Sounds like Alex Trebek. Is what it's Ganja, a.k.a.
I am
cannabis.
hosting a game show. I should sound like Alex Trebek in this
God,
scenario.
that's one of my favorite drops of all time.
Hannah Nancaro says, I trained him for this
She
category.
did. Oh, God.
That's a GD1.
That is unbelievable.
Ganja,
man.
a.k.a. cannabis.
That's a 1 seed. God, that kills me. What was the name of the category?
Bob Marley.
Oh, okay. Somebody said I thought you would do it, Jamaica Me Crazy or something like that.
Bob Marley. Don't Do This is coming up next. Could the NFL be taken down by a group of class action lawyers? Did you see what went down yesterday? Yeah. Big ruling against the NFL. We'll get to that and more coming up after a check of traffic. Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. So it sometimes feels, and it's probably true, that the NFL is all-powerful. They can do what they want.
Yeah, it feels that way.
They have us all in their grasp. What else are we going to do on Sundays in the fall?
And
other than
Mondays and Thursdays.
Other than watch football. Everyone else does it. You
Some
feel like
Fridays.
Some Fridays.
Saturdays.
Saturdays.
you feel like you're missing out if you don't. It's pretty much taking TV ratings, the top 100 programs every year now are NFL football games.
Yep.
So you have to watch. We know this. And you don't have any alternatives. There's no competition to the NFL in the fall. The UFL does not count. There's just no competition. But an industrious group of plaintiffs and lawyers said, you know what that is? That's a monopoly. When there's no competition and then you start charging whatever you want for your product, that's a monopoly. Those are illegal in this country. So they filed a lawsuit. It started actually with a sports bar up in Northern California because, sports bars have to pay way more for Sunday ticket than even home customers.
Bro, I think that
thousands. I think.
I had a buddy that owned a bar, and he goes, "If you had any idea what we have to pay to get this in,
and it ain't exactly cheap for home customers either. I mean, you're already paying for cable and everything to get most of the games, but if you want all of them, that's another, what is it, $140, $50 for the season for Sunday ticket, whatever it was, at least. So many years ago, actually, they filed this lawsuit against the NFL going, you're overcharging for your Sunday ticket. And it was thrown out, and then it was reinstated. I mean, the NFL has lawyers upon lawyers upon lawyers who delayed, who tried to get every trick in the book, a legal trick, to win this case, but kept moving forward. And eventually got to trial this week. Roger Goodell was called to the stand. Jury was there listening to all the arguments. And they came back with a verdict yesterday. And that jury in U.S. District Court said, yeah, you have violated antitrust laws. Wow. And they ordered the NFL to pay $4.7 billion in damages to Sunday ticket subscribers and sports bars who have been paying.
Wow.
Now, this is antitrust, which means that judgment will be likely tripled to over $14 billion, which would mean every team would be on the hook for about $500 million each.
I was going to ask, is there an NFL pot, like an NFL fund that comes out of, or does the owners each team?
I don't think there's any pot that's worth $14 billion.
Right.
$4 billion. Yeah, but if it's tripled, it would be $14 billion.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
So they just split it up 32 ways?
So obviously it's not over. There's going to be appeals upon appeals. We're probably still years away. But if the NFL does lose, at some point, if you bought Sunday ticket between, I think it was like 2011 and 2022, during this case, you'll get one of those like postcards in the mail saying, yeah, I'd like to sign up for my settlement.
Yeah, fill this out.
And if it all works out, one day you may get like a check for $150 or something, like to compensate you for your overpaying of the years of Sunday ticket or whatever it is. Your slice of the pie, of the big settlement from the NFL. So, hey, they don't win every single battle.
That's free
apparently.
money right there, guys.
They lost one finally.
Yeah. That's one thing
I've never fulfilled one of those.
I have.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I've got my $22 check.
I got like $40 from Blockbuster.
I got like $9 one time.
Yeah, it's
sweet.
It's found money. It's great. I've never been.
You're always worried it's a scam though. First.
Oh yeah,
Did I actually sign up for this? Yeah, I guess I did. Whatever.
I've never been able to. You know me. I'm quick to pull the trigger on almost anything that costs money. For entertainment purposes, and I've never been able to pull the trigger on the NFL ticket. Never been able to say, all right, let me have it all, because I don't love it enough. You know what I mean? The red zone and all that is enough for me, and then whatever games are on the networks, I'm good to go. Mine is pretty lame, and we're kind of out of time, Benny. Just do your do this.
All right, do this for a Friday.
Mega do.
Just saw this morning. So they're hosting the U.S. Senior Open right now in Rhode Island. Second round play is underway. And I don't know who Frank Bensel is. Never heard of him before. Probably just qualified for the U.S. Senior Open like he can do for the regular U.S. Open. They're playing at Newport Country Club, which starts with a par 5. He parred it. Then he bogeyed the next hole, which is a par 4, and parred the third hole, which is a par 4. So he's 1 over through 3. Both the fourth and fifth holes, kind of unique on the course, back-to-back par threes, 184 and then 203 yards. U.S. Open, even for the seniors, tough course. Fourth hole, Frank Bensel, ace. Fifth hole, Frank Bensel, ace. Back-to-back
hole in ones.
I don't even know what the odds of that are in golf. But that has to be one of the most astronomically unlikely things to happen in sports. There are very few courses where you even have back-to-back par threes.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
A hole-in-one will happen once in every, several years on, for a player even of those caliber on a course like that. To do it on back-to-back holes, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in sports.
No question. If I did it, I still would break 100 that day. That's the worst.
Start with two.
No, yeah, you have
16 holes left.
Yeah,
can I keep it under 100?
Yeah.
Not on a U.S. Open course.
The day I got my hole-in-one, I shot 111. A 111 with a hole-in-one. Nice day.
Congratulations, Frank Bensel. And that's Don't and Do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Mathematician Seabass in the chat says 1 in 67 million.
Oh, my.
I don't know. That seems a little light, even to me. You got to realize you probably get one or two chances in your life, other than like on a, executive par 3 course, to play back-to-back par 3s. On a regulation course, you're never going to get back-to-back par 3s almost.
No.
To get them both as hole-in-ones, insane.
It's awesome.
Insane.
What a day. So does he have to buy drinks for 2 days for all the people there?
Good question. Double the drinks for 1 day, drinks for 2 straight days.
It's expensive. It gets pricey.
Just pay for everyone's hotel room for the weekend or something.
Everyone's rental car.
Everyone's going to Vegas on me.
Crazy.
That is nuts. He then bogeyed the next hole.
No. Hands were shaking, obviously.
1-1-5.
So good.
All right, we'll come back. The Padres are winning over. I don't know if they're winning over their own fan base or their local media yet. We're always going to be a little skeptical. National media, though, they seem to be jumping on board with the San Diego Padres again. Give you some of those comments when we return on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Padres aren't the only playoff contender going through some injury issues, obviously.
Big one last night.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but the Phillies potentially lost 2 key players yesterday. They're crossing their fingers, holding their breath after Bryce Harper suffered what appeared to be a hamstring injury at the end of a loss to the Miami Marlins.
Last play of the game.
Yeah, very end of the game. And then Kyle Schwarber also dealing with groin tightness. Groin tightness doesn't sound bad, but that's basically what kept Yu Darvish out for the last month plus. So 2 absolutely core players for the Philadelphia Phillies now potentially could miss some time. We'll get an update, I'm sure, on both of their statuses coming up. But we know the Dodgers have had tons of injury issues so far this season. The Braves have had massive. I mean, they've lost Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna Jr., and others, but just start with those 2. Absolutely key players. So, yeah, the Padres have dealt with their fair share of injuries, no doubt about it, but they are not the only one. The National League is a walking wounded league at the moment.
When you live in the vacuum, the silo, as Mike Shildt likes to call it, we live in the Padres silo. And I saw the highlights last night. Now I saw Harper running down to first, kind of a shot back in the hole, and second baseman's going to it. First baseman's running to the bag. As soon as he hits the bag, Benny, he reaches for his hammy, and he starts jumping up and down. Carlos Correa, did you see that last night? Oh my!
Did not see Carlos Correa last night.
God, he's up hitting, gets drilled in the forearm. Does this, holds his hand up and looks to the dugout and shakes his head. Nope, walks off the field. So, yeah, man, guys are getting banged up
even
now.
the Brewers, who the Padres just faced, remember, you didn't see Devin Williams in that series. Everyone's been beat up this year, especially in the National League. So, Padres, it may come down to how role players perform on all of these teams, and the Padres have had really, really good contributions from role players. We'll talk a little bit about where they stand right now, midway point of the season, right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Well, after yesterday's nightmare ride on that South 5 coastline, guys, I think we deserve to have a nice, quiet Friday. Not a whole lot going on here. We do have a stalled vehicle reported on westbound 52. Past the 125, it's partially in the slow lane. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So again, as I realize, power rankings are meaningless other than a little snapshot of how, some group of national media are feeling about certain teams at a certain moment. But yesterday, Padres were a season-high number 12 in ESPN's new power rankings. Doesn't really matter, other than I do think it's sometimes interesting to see some of the comments, because guys like Buster Olney, who wrote the write-up on the Padres, do have access to at least talk to other people in the league about their impressions of a team. And here's what they wrote about the San Diego Padres yesterday. The National League mud bog of wildcard contenders is for now a messy race of 10 teams vying for 2 spots. You can make a reasonable case for each of the clubs, including the Nationals. But interestingly, many executives echo a similar sentiment as they assess what they see. The Padres should be the best team in this group of wildcard wannabes. Quote, "There's just a talent there," one high-ranking official said of San Diego last week. They've got starting rotation problems, but with the quality of their position players, they should win a spot. And then here's the statement that caught my eye. Nobody can hit, but the Padres can hit. That's what another executive in baseball, when he looks at the Padres, goes, yeah, they got something there. We're all struggling to put runs on the board. We're all struggling to put the bat on the ball, get it in play. But not the Padres. They lead the league in batting average. They're hitting line drives. They're striking out very little.
Yeah.
And for whatever, is it turning into a massive number of wins? Of course not. No. They're barely above 500. But it's something that has the envy of at least some people out there when they look, I wish my lineup did more of what the San Diego Padres lineup has been doing this season.
Got to keep that rolling, man. Got to keep that rolling. That slug that you're experiencing now, guys hitting homers, and you're going to be. I don't know how how the Texas Rangers ballpark plays at all. Like I don't know if it's deemed a pitcher's park, hitter's park. I know that there's a dome over it because it's 140 degrees there right now, but I don't know how it plays. But I know Fenway Park is a good park to hit in. So hopefully the boys can go out and do some damage off the monster this weekend. And I mean, look, they're a good team. They got their work cut out for them. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty okay about this team, and I've felt that way. 16 times or so this season. Like, okay, yeah, right. Like, what a flash of brilliance this has been, and then the inevitable has happened. I'm just trying to avoid the inevitable losing 4 or 5 games on this road trip, and I think it's the specter that hangs over all of our heads as Padres fans because that's what we've seen to this point.
So, but what's truly remarkable is that the Padres are envied as an offense after a first half in which Xander Bogaerts was a complete zero offensively and then got hurt. Manny Machado had his worst half season of his career offensively. And Fernando Tatis Jr. had a good 2.5 week period in June, was finally heating up when he then got hurt. Your 3 most important offensive players.
Hassan Kim, who had a good offensive season last year, has
also taken a step back. There's just no way the Padres should be better offensively. They should be significantly worse, yet they are better. And it is for a number of reasons. Jake Cronenworth's bounce back.
Yep.
Luis Arraez's addition, certainly part of it.
And
Jackson Merrill is huge. But the number one reason the Padres have taken a step up offensively is the most unlikely reason of all. Now, it's the guy who unblocked us on Twitter in spring training. It is Jurickson Profar. And I don't really even know how much credit to give A.J. Preller for that move. It was such a foregone, obvious conclusion move. Even before the Padres signed him, we were already counting on him as part of whatever Padres plans. Now,
I remember those conversations. We're like, all right, you
when?
got Toddy and Wright
Just
over the offseason. You got Toddy and Wright, big question mark in center field. And then he's not on the team yet, but you figure Profar and Love.
Pencil
now I don't know if he's an everyday player, but he'll be a good platoon switch hitting option. You can come off the bench, whatever. Obviously, they're going to sign Jurickson Profar, and he's going to be on this team in 2024.
Yeah.
It was a foregone conclusion in my mind that Profar was going to be here. So I don't know that can be like a huge. A.J. Preller needs to be general manager of the year for his incredible signing of Jurickson Profar. Everybody would have done that. You could have had no GM, and somehow Jurickson Profar would have ended up on the team one way or another this year. So I give all the credit to Jurickson, and, maybe a little bit to Fernando Tatis Sr.
Yes.
And whatever he did to Jurickson during winter ball in the Dominican.
Yeah. And I think playing, he talked about it. Getting a chance to play winter ball was epic for him and got him locked in. And guy's been ready to play, fighting through injury. He's been a revelation, man. Couldn't love somebody more than Jurickson Profar. What a great dude. What a great pickup for almost no money.
He did officially finish first in the NL All-Star balloting in the outfield.
It's done?
The first round is done.
God.
So he is now one of the 6 finalists. So you now have to go back and start voting for Jurickson again beginning Sunday. Sunday to Wednesday is the final vote, MLB.com/vote.
Why do they do this?
I know. I mean, it would be a crime at this point if Jurickson finished first in the balloting normally and then all of a sudden finished fourth and didn't get there. So, follow up, everybody that voted for Jurickson. You got to do it one more time. Sunday to Wednesday. The final vote is coming up. Jurickson needs to be an all-star this year.
All right, we got to make sure we hit it on all our socials and spread the message because, there's no more deserving candidate than him.
Padres have 4 finalists, actually. Tatis is also one of the top 6. Now, I would assume that even if he got voted in, he's not going to play in the All-Star
Correct.
game. There's not any indication that he'll probably be back before the All-Star break. And even if he was thinking of coming back, the All-Star game is not the place to come back. So I would not think that Fernando will be part of the team. Manny Machado is one of the 2 finalists at third base. And Luis Arraez is one of the finalists at second base. He actually nearly passed Ketel Marte, who had a really good first half of the season for the Diamondbacks and was the leading vote getter. But you can change your mind. You can go for the batting champion. You can vote for Luis Arraez. There's a 50-50 chance he could end up being the starter at second base for the National League in Texas next month at the All-Star Game. So those are your options coming up. Your last 4 Padres you can vote for, and then, of course, they'll name the pitchers. Robert Torres, I would think, is still very much on track to be part of the bullpen for the National League as well. And Jackson Merrill did not make the final 6. That doesn't mean you can't be voted in by players or be selected by the manager later on, but he's no longer part of the fan vote going forward.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick, though, if he made it, too. But he said he doesn't care. He just wants to, win baseball games at this point.
All right, let's get a quick update. We've had a couple of times this week. We had our friend John Flint on from KSON down the hall, and it is the final day, and they've done an incredible job this week, and it's not too late to help them reach their goal. I know it was a very lofty and ambitious goal, as they try to raise enough money to train a service dog for a veteran who's come back suffering from PTSD. Johnny, it's good to see you again.
Guys, thank you so much for giving me the time. I want to go ahead and just clear up any misconception right off the bat of what people think about this show. It smells really good in this studio.
It does smell good.
You guys are tremendously good smelling men.
That's the ganja, a.k.a. cannabis.
Yeah, you missed that.
Did you guys get high in
we
here
did
this
not.
morning?
No, we had a Bob Marley category for Take On
Ganja,
a.k.a. cannabis.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you again. We had a very lofty goal, Ben, of $35,000, and that goal wasn't just something we just picked out of the air. That's what it costs for Paws for Purple Hearts, this beautiful organization here in San Diego, to train one service dog. It takes about 2.5 years to train a dog to help save a service member's life, and we're about $18,000 right now, which is a big step from yesterday.
You get a smaller dog, or maybe a partially trained dog.
Half trained.
No, let's get them to their goal today, everybody. Let's get them all the way there.
When did you become a joker of the show? What's happened here? Anyway, yeah, let's be honest. We're tired, and I know that you're probably tired of people asking you for money in America's most expensive city. But these are men and women who they did their job for us, and we have the freedoms that we have today. You know that because of them, and so many of them would rather die than tell you that they're hurting, would rather die than ask for help, because that's not how they were bred. That's not how their insides work. But, they helped us so much, and this is our way of the civilian way of helping out and doing your part for your country. I don't care if you don't listen to our show. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care. What I do care is you go to KSON.com and just make that donation, because you're going to be helping a hero who might not be able to even say, I really need to help. I can't even get off my couch. I can't get the mail. I can't go to my kid's game because anyone who looks at me, I think they want to confront me. It's such a weird mindset, mental illness and post-traumatic stress. I thank God I can't wrap my mind around it. But I do know this, that these service animals are proven to help, if not save, lives. So it's a huge deal, and it's people right here in San Diego that are going to benefit. KSON.com. Maybe today's payday. Pay it forward a little bit. We need, I don't know, what is the math at this point? I can't even think. 17,000.
You're more than halfway there.
I know. Thank you for that.
But usually these things, at the end, a lot of like the late charge is what gets you to the finish line.
If you fought for our country, thank you for your service. If you've got a son or a daughter right now who's overseas or doing something for our country, thank them for their service and pay them the respect and the honor that they deserve by helping out a veteran that is in a really rough place right now. Many of them, everybody knows somebody that served, and maybe you know somebody that suffers from traumatic post PTSD. As you can tell, I'm really tired, guys. It's been a long week, but I just thank you for the time again. At KSON.com is where you can go ahead and make that donation.
It is a noble cause, John, and we appreciate you spreading the message and doing that work this week.
So what's up with the All-Star break? I just caught the end. Who's in, who's not?
Jurickson is a finalist. Tatis is also a finalist, although he's not going to play. And then Arraez and Manny Machado are finalists, one of the two at their positions, second and third base. So you can vote for them Sunday to Wednesday. Let everybody on KSON know. Get the vote out, especially for Jurickson. Sunday to Wednesday, MLB.com/vote.
Maybe this has been brought up, and I apologize if it has. Shouldn't Jurickson Profar accept the All-Star slot and then politely decline it so he can get that knee back I mean,
no, I think,
should he be playing in the All-Star
His
game?
son will never forgive
His son
him.
will never forgive
Kyrie
him. Yeah.
Profar wants to see his dad at the All-Star game.
Oh, I'd like
He
to
wants
see,
to go to that
I'd like
home run
to see
derby.
his dad in October, frankly.
I don't think 3 innings of All-Star and
Okay.
2
Yeah.
at-bats.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
give him
He's
one.
going to get him healthy either way.
Sorry, I'm
it's
concerned.
neat
I
tendonitis.
apologize.
I appreciate that.
Okay, KSON.com. Thank you. Love you. Big
Thank
tier
you,
one.
Johnny. Appreciate you.
Get him to
No,
that
sir.
full-size dog today.
Yes, the full size.
By donating at KSON.com. All right, we'll come back. We got Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue talking about the Grand Ole Game. Thanks to Grand Ole Barbecue. That is coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, halfway home on a Friday as it were. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good to have you guys. Good to be in here chopping it up on a Friday.
I'm all gussied up now in my Grand Ole Barbecue Asado hat, ready for
so good.
Jordan to join us via Zoom here any second.
They're going to bring us
Family Barbecue.
They're going to bring us some meat on a Friday. So yeah, they're going to bring us the whole spread.
Don't tease me.
I'm not. It's not a tease.
Don't tease me.
It is a tease because it's not here yet, but they are going to bring us some meat.
Well, we need to have Jordan and Jake in studio one day. I mean, their travels should bring them to San Diego at some point here, as we are joined right now by Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue and Yahoo Sports.
Sorry about that delay.
You're good. No, you're good. We're glad to have you as always and welcome you to another Friday here with Ben and Woods. Hello, Jordan.
What's up, guys? Always a pleasure. I am wearing my Frisco Rough Riders hat, the hat that a top prospect named Jurickson Profar once wore many, many moons ago. And I decided to keep it simple with my appreciation for Mr. Profar on this fine Friday morning because, he's like one of the best players in baseball, as we all expected.
Totally knew it. We called it. No, it's funny, man. You know, I have always liked Jurickson Profar, the player. Now, I grew up, Jordan, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and listened to a ton of Dallas-Fort Worth sports talk radio. And the name Jurickson Profar was bandied about all the time. And I actually, when he came to the Padres, it was like, oh, cool, good pickup, solid. But I kind of used him as an example of why you should sometimes trade prospects. And isn't it funny now that here we are, years later, he's the leading vote getter in the All-Star game, having a monster season. It's been remarkable. What a career arc for him.
Yeah, I think the other thing about certainly if you zoom in on just the past year and how it's gotten to this point is pretty astonishing. But I think it's like, oh wow, he's really put it all together in San Diego. It's like he was already in San Diego, and it seemed like he had become a good player.
Yes.
As we saw that, right? It was 3 years of being like a good player. He had settled in, he had made it, he had become a good major league player. And there was just not a reason to expect another jump up to become one of the best players in baseball at this point. I know he's been in our lives for so long. The fact that he is, 31 now is kind of jarring, but man, oh man, where would this team be without him is a very real sentence that you can say.
I mean, and I can vividly remember, some of the deals that the Rangers wanted to pull off and did not, because they would not include Jurickson Profar in those deals, and that's how much they believed in him back then. And A.J. Preller had some connections with that organization, and it's just been really, really special. He's not only David Peralta talked yesterday about him, and he goes, "Yeah, I played against him, and he'd rack up RBIs and home runs, and he plays hard, and he plays with spirit and fire." He goes, "I didn't like him. I absolutely didn't like him." And he goes, then I get here and I meet him and I go, "Oh my God, he's quiet, he's gentle, he's sweet, he's got a beautiful family." He goes, "I can totally see the other side now." So it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's, you mentioned thinking back to him as a prospect, like we talked about this on our show before, but he's a big part of why Jake and I really started to want to talk about baseball together. Like this is when he was a top prospect, and when we wanted to go another level deeper into this world, it was so that we could be like, I know about Jurickson Profar and you don't, right? Like that was kind of when he was in, Spokane or whatever, however early levels when he's playing like the Arizona Complex League, and it's like, man, it is 16-year-old Curacao, he's unbelievable. And that was something that we really liked, getting into. And so it is a remarkable career arc, and yeah, man, he's the story of the Padres season. I don't think there's really any way around that.
It's also a reminder that for the amount of resources, money, time that front offices put into discovering players, A.J. Preller, traveling the globe, staying up all hours of the day, trying to turn over every rock on planet Earth in search of baseball players. Sometimes it just comes down to luck, because any team could have signed Jurickson Profar. He's getting $1 million. No one could have seen this. We actually asked the question, does A.J. even really get any credit? We were so sure he was going to sign. Jurickson Profar this offseason. We put him on the roster as part of the plans before they even signed him, going, well, obviously Jurickson's going to be an option in left field, for the Padres this season, because where else is he going to go? He's going to be a part of the Padres. It's just a foregone conclusion. Yeah. A lot of this game is, Jordan, as much as we attribute intelligence and skill, there's a lot of luck in baseball involved too.
Absolutely, right. And not, okay, sure, you maybe could have seen it coming. I mean, he still wasn't signed until after spring training had started, It's not even like, all right, it'd be one thing if they had identified him early in the season, like, we want to bring him back, like that, sure, maybe you get a little bit more credit for that. So, and obviously I guess they get credit for it being a place that he clearly wanted to keep coming back to.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that is something you can give them, but you are 100% correct. There's no version of this that does not involve an incredible, role of the random number generator that produces our baseball results.
Talking to our pal Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, the rumor mill always heats up. And we've already pulled off 2 massive trades, here in San Diego this year. And the rumor mill is always heating up, Jordan, when it comes to the trade deadline. I'm looking at the Garrett Crochet to the Dodgers rumor, maybe to the Padres even. The pitcher for the Tigers, Skubal. Yeah, Tarek Skubal. Why would teams like the Tigers and the White Sox that still have multiple years of control left on lefty power arms that can get guys out at the big league level, why wouldn't they just build around those guys? Do you suspect that those guys will be moved? I just don't understand the constant reshuffling and re-upping on prospects from other teams when you have guys like that you could build your rotation around.
Totally with you. And yeah, there's something part of it that's, you never know, pitchers, who knows what they'll be in 3 years, let alone 5. I think I'm completely with you. Now, I think the Crochet and Skubal situations are definitely different. 0% chance Skubal get traded. Crochet, it's just because we know the White Sox are still in just such mega teardown mode, but they have enough else to trade. Even if they do want to make a Luis Robert deal, Kopech's a guy they could move. And by the way, for the Tigers, if they want to go full sell, Jack Flaherty should get you some real stuff. I mean, what he has become this season is really astonishing. That's another one of the more quiet, remarkable pitching seasons I think we've seen. And a lot of it is being masked by the fact that he's on the same team as Skubal, and Skubal, might be the Cy Young front runner. So, but I can't see that. And for Crochet, man, I've talked about this on White Sox podcasts, that one would just be so hard to stomach, right? It's the one thing that's gone well for them. At them when he was their opening day starter.
We absolutely were. Yeah.
And it's not like he was a total nobody. He was a first round pick, and he at his best was one of the more impressive, college pitchers we've seen, but the track record was not there. He literally never started a major league game. Right. So, and of course the injury track record too. So you hope that he's someone they can build around. And I just don't, because to your point, how many times can you keep pushing the timeline farther into the future? And if you have someone that's that good, man, it's one thing you move Dylan Cease, with a year and a half left or 2 years left, but this is a totally different beast. And it would just be such a horrible sign to the fans that have obviously already suffered enough.
It was less than a decade ago when the Padres were such a zero team that you'd go scan the ESPN.com baseball headlines, and maybe once a year the Padres would rate something that would make a headline. Now they're literally every single week, something involving the Padres is worthy of national attention and news. This last week, of course, it was the series against the Washington Nationals, which was just filled with drama, ups and downs, controversy, and, of course, a benches clearing incident that involved Jurickson Profar, and then Mackenzie Gore throwing at Jurickson Profar, not getting tossed out of the game, and then Manny's home run response. What was your view of what went down in that series between the Padres and Nationals, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like kind of a classic baseball, brouhaha, where you just have the perfect level of discontent and, plausible deniability on a lot of people's sides of things, where it's why would he throw it purposefully there? You have Kyber Ruiz trying to slow things down. You have all these different parts about it. Profar, after the walk-off, maybe running towards the Nationals dugout, was that necessary? All of it to me is fine I don't want anyone to get if we're not having punches thrown, and if we don't really believe that someone is throwing at someone on purpose, which in my opinion, I do not think he was throwing him on purpose. I think having these kind of moments is a good thing because, as you mentioned, people are going to talk about it, and that's fine. And if people are not throwing punches, and if it's just creating, some again, it's like how many people would have been like, yeah, we're going to have this really. Imagine telling someone in March, yeah, one of the spiciest back and forths of the year is going to be Jesse Winker and Jurickson Brobar.
So good.
You'd be like, what? What are you talking about? So I think that's something that, like, these things kind of pop up at completely unexpected times. And I wasn't surprised that, honestly, either team was kind of at the center of it because of the personalities involved.
100%. Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue joins us this morning. And your Mariners have righted the ship. They're back up in first place. I'm watching last night. It was Yankees playing the
Blue
Jays again, and we had it on, and I walk by. My son goes, "Oh my God, it's 5-0," and he goes, "It's the first inning." The Yankees out of the gate. It's a good lesson for everybody to just be patient. Teams can go one way or the other. They look like one of the worst teams in baseball right now. I mean, they're getting bodied on an almost nightly basis right now. The Orioles have now crept in to a tie for first place. The patience part is really, really hard for a lot of us fans. And we always try to remind people, just because you start hot, there's going to be a lull. There's going to be they literally look like the worst team in baseball right now.
Yeah, they sure do. Them and the Rockies are the only teams that have lost 8 of their last 10. And it's nice that they got out to that lead, but why did they get out to such an incredible start? Because they have some really good players that are still on the team. And so I think when you go through a situation like this, when you are losing, it's always so much worse when you're losing to rivals, right? That just hurts. And you're right, they've been getting crushed. But when you have back-to-back series of, I know they lost the series to Boston, but this stretch here, when you lose series to Boston, series to Baltimore, a series to Atlanta at home where it's the Braves are figuring it out, series to the Mets, and now you lose to a Blue Jays team who seems to be going in, heading towards being a full-blown seller. It's like the perfect storm. It's not just that they've lost 8 of 10, it's who they've lost it to, and it's how bad they've looked. Now, is that a reason to panic? I mean, the reason it's a reason to panic is because the Orioles are so good. This is not a situation where they can necessarily afford to go cold for too long, because winning the division is going to become a lot harder, because the Orioles are one of the best teams in baseball. And I think the Yankees can still be one of the best teams in baseball. But you don't have that cushion. And if you heard Alex Cora talking about chasing them down, yeah, that's exactly the attitude he should have. He said, they're not playing great, so why can't we, make it interesting with them? So they got another series. I guess they got, 3 more against Toronto. They got Cincinnati next week, and then they have Boston again at the end of next week. So this could be a lot more interesting in the AL East than maybe we thought.
Well, and the Central is insane in the NL. You take the manager from the Cubs, from the Brewers, you put him on the Cubs. You pay him a ton of money to do so. They're in dead last place right now in the Central, and the team you took him from, they're in first place, 15 games above 500. This sport continues to, every year I forget, continues to prove that we don't know anything and anything can happen. It's been an insane run there in the Central as well, and with the Pirates, adding Paul Skeens and the guys that they have, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun this summer.
Yeah, the Cubs Brewers thing is really interesting. I think just sticking on the Cubs, I think how we talk about Counsell and the impact of a manager. It's listen, man, he can only press the buttons that are in front of him. And as we've seen, there are some flaws in this roster. They've certainly had some injuries on the mound recently, which has been tough. And the offense is just okay. But you would think that even that would be enough to not be in last place in this division.
100%.
And yet here they are. Milwaukee is an even more amazing thing. I think they have proven me right, or proven me wrong in so many ways that I'm so impressed. And yet I still look at their rotation. I say, how in the world is this going to be a team that is in the postseason at all, let alone what they would do once they get there? But credit to them. They've been awesome.
I think the real trick is figuring out which teams are just going into that lull and they're going to bounce back, and which ones are truly in trouble. Like 2021, Padres got off to a hot start, went into a lull, never got out of it. Just, the season fell apart. But I just went back and looked last year, Jordan. Both the Texas Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks had stretches of 3-17 in the second half of the season last year. In the second half of the season.
Yeah.
and ended up in the World Series against each other at the end of the year. Are the Yankees going to do this?
That cushion.
Or are they going to fall apart like the 2021 Padres? How do you identify the difference between teams that are really in trouble and teams that are just going through that normal lull that every baseball team goes through at some point?
Well, I think I certainly don't have the answer to that, which is obviously not very good radio guest of me. But I will say that, like, I'm so glad you mentioned those examples, right? Because those teams almost missed the playoffs.
Right. 100%.
You know, like, it's not even, and then they got hot at it wasn't just that they were so bad, but then they still managed to win the division. Like, obviously that's the exact opposite of what happened with Texas. And then they got hot. So hey, maybe the Yankees are going to bungle this lead. Maybe they are going to have to go play a wild card series, and then maybe they'll go to the World Series anyway, you know? And so it is ultimately about just getting in. And I think that the Yankees, it's pretty hard to imagine them bungling it to that degree to where they don't even have a shot in the postseason. But, you know, I mean, there's a few where you could say, oh, well, they have these guys coming back. They have these guys that we are certain have this level. There's these guys that there's no way they could perform like this. The Yankees roster is fascinating. Yankees and Dodgers both, right? When the top end is so good and the bottom is so bad, it's just like, how am I supposed to evaluate? How am I going to tip the scales? You know, when you see the unbelievable highs and the very, very troubling lows.
Jordan, as always, appreciate it. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again probably around the All-Star break. It's coming upon us very quickly.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, guys. Always fun.
Jordan Schusterman, Cespedes Family Barbecue, our weekly conversation brought to you by our friends at Grand Ole Barbecue, Flint Springs, North Park, at the ballpark when the Padres return, and hopefully in studio some Friday soon, where we can indulge in meats upon meats upon meats.
Yeah, maybe during Ben and Wood's summer break.
Ooh,
just eat
barbecue
meat.
and summer break go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I want to talk some pitching matchups, not just for this series, but what are the Padres going to do going forward, especially with all of these newfound off days that they have to play with between now and the All-Star break. Does that change anything for you? We'll talk about that coming up. Let's check traffic. Be right back with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, wouldn't you know, when the Padres finally seemed to solve some of their woes against left-handed starting pitching, 3 straight wins against the Nationals, all with lefty starters, actually scored some runs against the lefty starters the last couple of days of the series. At the moment, they're not scheduled to face a single lefty, I believe, in this entire road trip. All righties now for the Boston Red Sox and the Texas Rangers.
No kidding.
Begins tonight with the first game of the road trip and the series at Fenway Park. 4:10 p.m. start, 3:10 Eco Water SoCal pregame show. Randy Vasquez on the mound against Nick Pivetta in Game 1 of the series. Tomorrow is a 1:10 San Diego start with Michael King against, I believe it's Tanner Houck.
Tanner Houck.
And then on
Good
the Sunday morning series finale, 10:35 a.m. first pitch, it's Josh Winkowski against Matt Waldron. Then the Padres will go to Texas, where Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, and Max Scherzer are scheduled to be the starting pitchers for the 3 games of that series. Now, because of the off day yesterday, and then another one on Monday, nice little bookend off days around this series against the Boston Red Sox. Mike Shildt and Ruben Niebla could get creative with their starting rotation. Dylan Cease.
You always do this.
Well, I did, and they didn't do anything about it last time. They just went.
Maybe they'll listen to me this time.
But the last time they were, admittedly, they were in a stretch of 26 games in 27 days. They had the one off day. They didn't want to do anything with that off day. Dylan Cease, if you wanted to move him up to Tuesday, his next turn in the rotation technically doesn't come until Wednesday, middle game in Texas. But if you wanted to move him up to Tuesday to start the Rangers series, he'd still have an extra day of rest. Yeah. Wednesday, normally you get 4 days rest. That would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'd pitch Monday. Well, they're off on Monday. You could pitch him on Tuesday on an extra day rest, but still a day earlier than he normally would. At that point, then, Randy Vasquez could pitch the next day on normal rest, and Michael King could pitch the road trip finale on normal rest because of the Monday off day, if you wanted to go in that direction and, skip Adam Major if Yu Darvish is not ready to come back to the rotation. I understand the Padres did win, and Adam Major got the win his last time out. Still had the 4-run inning that he gave up. Still has not shown the ability to miss bats on the big league level yet. Did not walk as many guys, threw more strikes in his last start. Making some progress, but it just feels like every time you're throwing him out there, you are making your job a little tougher.
Isn't it, could it be dependent on how some of the other games go? Does that do anything for you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, if you move Dylan Cease around, and again, it's still normal rest for him.
More than normal
rest for him.
I'm almost hesitant to give him
too much
6
rest.
days and too much rest. Coming off literally what might have been his best start of the season.
Get him back out there.
On Washington. Do you really want to make him wait an entire week before he takes the mound again next Wednesday against the Rangers?
Let's ask the skipper in 30 minutes.
We can.
Probably not going to give you an answer.
Probably not.
But I think it's an interesting question, and I'm glad your mind works this way. Because mine doesn't. I never think about that, like ever. All I'm thinking about is in the chat, when you said Tanner Houck, everyone said Tanner Houck Tua. And that's all that I've been thinking about since you started talking. Right. Tanner Houck Tua.
He is going in game 2 of the series.
He is going in
the San Diego Padres.
Tua.
Hawk Tua of the series
Roastmaster
in Boston.
Asked if we would ask the skipper about Hawk Tua. I'm going to pass on that one.
Probably going to pass.
Say, Skip, have you seen the Hawk Tua girl?
You gotta give him that Hawk Tua and spit on that thing. You get me?
Now, eventually,
sweet little laugh.
The Padres do have from Tuesday to Sunday 6 games in a row, so you'd eventually need, at some point by next Saturday, a 5th starter. If it's Adam Major.
And maybe it's Yu Darvish.
And maybe it's Yu Darvish. I don't know exactly what his status is. Feels like he's going to now need another rehab start at some point at least, even if imaging was good, they said, on Yu Darvish's elbow, which is what caused him to not get activated from the injured list when he was supposed to last Tuesday. Could he be back? Maybe. Maybe by next, Saturday would be when they would need July 6th. And then again, they have another off day on that Monday, July 8th. They have another off day on Thursday, July 11th, around just a 2-game series against the Seattle Mariners. So you could, at that point, then get to the last 5 games of the season without needing to use a 5th starter again.
Okay. That works for me.
You've got one more start. If you play it right, you could get to the All-Star break with just one more 5th starter. If you want to keep on your rotation, though, then you'll probably need 2, maybe even a 3rd turn in the rotation for Adam Major. I'm just saying, can we avoid 3 starts for Adam Major between now and the All-Star break?
I think the answer is yes, you can with the off days built
I'd like
in.
to.
I like that your mind works that way because I don't even think that way. That's why we work.
But then again, doesn't seem like the teams do either. They're probably itching to get Dylan Cease an extra couple of days of rest here.
Right.
Get everybody a little extra rest after that long stretch.
Let's ask him.
And when we ask him, he's going to go, No, we can't. We're not going to do that. We should be giving them more rest, not less rest, especially at this stage of the season.
I think you still ask them.
Do you even watch baseball, cuz?
Yeah, hey, you know anything about this?
Tim says Ben hates
covering the game?
Major.
Yeah, Ben does not want to see Major on the bump.
I don't. Okay, kind of. I kind of do. And it's not personal. I hate seeing him pitch. I do hate seeing him pitch right now.
It's not a comfortable
It's
watch.
It's not a personal thing. It's a more. I don't like the feelings inside of me when he's on the mound.
It's fair.
Doesn't throw enough strikes. I think if Mike Shildt was under some truth serum, now there's a good
bit.
There is a spicy interview. Lie detector Mike Shildt. Even he has to feel a little uncomfortable when Major's on the mound. He hates walks. It's one thing he's actually said. He does not like to see his pitchers walk batters.
Has he said that?
Yes, he said that.
Okay.
He does. He loves when you get very few walks, a lot of strikeouts, very few walks.
I think most
is
managers
he on the record for that? Because I also wouldn't
be
be surprised if we heard him in a post game. I love the effort. I love the.
He's around the zone.
Out there.
He was around the zone a little bit and then didn't get the call.
I get he can tailor comments to fit each situation. He has that skill.
That's a good bit.
But many times he's focused on the fact, hey, we may have lost by 6, but did you see our guys didn't walk anybody in that game?
Yeah.
I've heard that a few times
we
this
could
year.
do a bit where we just ask him about like the worst stuff in the world and see if he could spin it. Like, all right, nuclear war, your thoughts. Well, I mean, it's okay. It's, get some of the bad elements out, right?
Burn up some of that littering.
Yeah, burn up some litter. Yeah, whatever.
What about the 3 wars America did win? You're not talking about it anymore?
He's going to murder us.
Yeah, we're dead.
All right, we've got a Ryle Report. We'll do it a little bit early since Mike Shilt's going to join us at 9:00. So Paulie going to get us some headlines.
A potentially gnarly story that has surfaced out of the NBA draft.
I saw this yesterday.
Coming up next, don't go anywhere. Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Quick little birthday shout out. 40th birthday, Tier 1 Robert. Happy birthday to you, buddy. Your wife, Katrina, DM'd me this morning and asked if we could give you a shout out in the 8 o'clock hour. I said, sure, 8:20. And then I forgot. And so now it's 8:40, which is coincidentally the age you're turning. So I think it worked out better for everyone. So happy 40th. Hey, bud, it's all downhill from here once you hit 40, just so you know. You're going to need QC Kinetics. You're going to need probably West Coast Men's Health. You're going to need all kinds of stuff.
Hold on. All right. I know we have a round of report coming up. When do you feel like it really did start going downhill?
The day I turned 40. Yeah.
I feel like it was more like 36 or so.
Oh, no. I felt really good.
You felt good until the late 30s?
Bro, come on. I was thriving.
I feel better now than I did probably at 36
well, you
to
lost
45.
40 pounds.
Yeah, it's huge.
I have not.
Absolutely huge.
But, when I was 40, yeah. I mean, it was like the next morning I woke. I had some drinks, so Hannah threw me a surprise party, and I had some drinks, and I woke up.
Surprise party?
Yeah.
This is before I knew you.
Yeah. Yeah, threw me a surprise 40th birthday party.
Were you really surprised?
Yeah. Ish.
Where was it?
Tower 13.
Oh, right on the beach.
Yeah, right on the beach. It was amazing.
Cardiff.
It was. She went all out. It was great.
A lot of people?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Like
50, 60
Now,
people.
how did they pull it off? You thought you're just going to dinner with
let's go get a
her,
beer or something. Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't even married yet, were you?
No, we were just dating at the time. So, yeah, when I was feeling...
Birthday beer going, and then all of a sudden you get there and everyone yells...
Surprise!
Surprise.
It's great.
I would have liked to have been there.
Yeah, well, I didn't know you. So
no, I know. It would have been weird to invite me at that point.
Now, my 50th, you'll be there. Van Halen will be playing there.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which one?
I would like to get them all together again. Eddie's not here anymore. He's not with us, so that's going to be tough. But to get Sammy and Dave would be pretty solid. Get them up there. Maybe Rat could play my 50th. Something like that. But yeah, you guys will be there for that one.
Fantastic.
That's just a year and
Is
a
it
month
a surprise?
away. No,
you don't want it to be a surprise.
No, if I have to plan it myself, I will.
Can you imagine if Paulie and I had to pretend there wasn't a Woodsy 50th birthday party for like weeks and weeks?
I know.
No, Woods, we have nothing planned for your 50th birthday at all.
We're out of town.
Yeah. No, what are you doing? Oh, Hannah and I are just going to go have a... we're going to Tower 13 again. We went there for my 40th, so we're going to go again. Oh, I didn't hear anything about this.
Have fun.
Jeffrey says he feels terrible at 36. Yeah. 40 just crushed me. Can't wait for 50.
Now, some combination of SDFatLoss.com, QC Kinetics, and West Coast Men's Health.
Be good to go.
Fix you right up
exactly
for your 40s. What's baseball really like? Join former Padre and MLB All-Star Brett Boone and his big league friends on his podcast, The Boone Podcast, 3 days a week. Brett talking with Hall of Famers, fellow All-Stars, friends, and more. Get their take on today's game. He's had some big names all season long. The Boone Podcast and the free Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Kaboom Podcast?
The Kaboom.
Kaboo?
Friday, 8:43.
Kaboom goes the dynamite.
You can put it on the board every Friday at 8:43.
That's why we have the Ryle Report scheduled after traffic.
That's
here
right.
On 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Just one problem here, southbound 15 Valley Parkway, 3-vehicle accident in the fast lane. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Purchase a grill this week and your first cookout is free, courtesy of Omaha Steaks. That's a dozen free burgers and a dozen free franks. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware, where service still matters. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Ryle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Ryle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Ryle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Happy
Friday, gentlemen. Start off in Major League Baseball. It's that time of year where every year you have the conversation, is Shohei Ohtani going to be in the home run derby?
Yeah.
He's only done it once, I think.
John Flint was in here about an hour ago, and he said, Profar in the All-Star game, is that a good idea? Like, shouldn't he just take the rest? And we all thought, 2 or 3 innings, probably a good idea for him.
Get him an AB. And
if he wants to do it, no problems with that. But with the home run derby, feels like every team is always questioning if they want their guy there. Is it going to ruin his swing? Does he need to be there? And so Dave Roberts actually had some comments on this on Wednesday. He was talking with reporters, and he said the one side of it for Ohtani to be in the home run derby, it's great for baseball, clearly. The other side of it, on the manager of the Dodgers side of it, you're trying to be more cautious and appreciating the fact that there's a lot more swings, higher intensity, going through the rehab process with his elbow. You guys expect to see Ohtani in the home run derby?
I do not.
I feel like if you've got
I don't.
any legitimate excuse now, players are going to grab onto it and go. I'd love to be there.
He
for
wants
good
to.
of the game.
He really wants to. Shohei says he wants to.
Well, then he can do whatever he wants.
Right.
He can.
Yeah, he can.
I don't think the Dodgers can stop him.
Says he has feelings of wanting to do it, but he would need approval from his doctors and the trainers. And the team.
Ultimately, my prediction is it doesn't happen.
I don't think he will. I think, when your manager comes out and says that, you do feel the guilt, of, got to make sure I'm there for the October collapse. They're going to need me for that collapse. I need to be
Skip,
there.
I know you don't feel like I should be there, but I think I'm going to do it anyways. I'll give him the old Adam.
I do that.
Klug.
I do that to Adam all the time.
Okay.
The best.
Dave Roberts said he wouldn't want anyone telling him he couldn't do the home run derby.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure your lack of power told everybody that anyway.
Yeah.
Now, if they had a stolen base derby, go ahead.
I don't think you were ever in consider. It's like,
do we have a bias in the All-Star game against non-power hitters? Like, should Luis Arise be in the contact derby? Like, just how many pitches in a row can you make contact on off a pitching machine that's like 105? Like, ramp it up. Just all you have to do is foul it off. Contact.
Is that boring? I think it's boring.
I think that's the problem. Yeah, people.
Ohtani's only done it once. It was
2021.
He lost to Juan Soto
in the first round. He's gone through one round of the home run derby in his entire career.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Sometimes the internet can provide one of those stories where you go, "This is insane."
Yeah.
If it's true.
If true. I was just gonna say that. If true.
I think that's an important qualifier because anybody can make an account on social media and say they're somebody.
Yeah.
And so you never really know. But no, this was not about Bronny James. We already talked about that. Kyle Filipowski from Duke. Now, he's like a 7-footer who excelled at Duke. He should have been a first rounder, like maybe even a lottery pick, but he wasn't. In fact, he wasn't even in the first round. He slid to number 32 overall in the second round to the Utah Jazz. And Zach Lowe and Jonathan Giovanni, they host the Zach Lowe podcast, or the Lowe podcast, I think it is. It's one of the most successful and popular basketball podcasts. And they started digging into the theory that there's a lot going on in Kyle Filipowski's personal life that may have led to him sliding into the second round. They talked to scouts of teams throughout the NBA, and they said, look, it has nothing to do with his ability on the basketball court. There are concerns about character and his home life and things going on in his personal life. And so there was this tweet from an account, Daniel Filipowski, claiming to be his brother.
Yep.
And again, we don't know that if this was actually his brother or not. But the story gets really weird when they start talking about how Kyle has cut his family out of his life entirely for years now. He is dating his girlfriend. He's been dating her for a long time. She's 6 or 7 years older than he is. I believe she went to his high school prom.
She did. There's a picture of them at prom. She was 23. He was 18.
Yeah.
This is legal, certainly, right?
So the tweet that got all the traction, he's got 13 million views right now on Twitter. It says, Kyle Filipowski's brother and mom are on here revealing how his girlfriend groomed him into Mormon culture and cut him off from his family. And now he ends up with the Utah Jazz.
He got drafted by the Jazz, of all teams. Like, You're Mormon?
There's screenshots here from Kyle's brother, allegedly. I'm Kyle's oldest brother. You all don't have a clue of the extent of the story that has to do with his girlfriend. There's a story that has been pushed under the table for nearly 2 years. He goes on to say, nobody knows anything about this other than him, the Duke coaching staff, and his agent.
They can't even get in touch with him anymore. The girlfriend allegedly has, like you said, been grooming
they said
him.
other than messaging him on Instagram is like the only attempt we can make to even reach out to him and contact him.
Yep.
And they've been unsuccessful.
They do feel he was brainwashed by her, and the mother, allegedly the mother, said, you guys are opening a 2-year issue. She's 28 with an end game 3 years ago to have a diamond ring on her hand when Kyle left Duke. He was still in high school. Would you let your 18-year-old son date a 23-year-old woman?
He's an adult.
He's an adult.
You can't let or not let him do anything.
That's true.
Like I think more, what are his teammates going to say about this? Because I bet they have some opinions as well.
Which team? The
His
new teammates?
Yeah. You know, you're about to start an NBA pro basketball career. There's a lot of travel, a lot of people that you're going to meet as an NBA player. Are you sure you're ready to settle down right away and make that choice? Because it could be something that you look back and regret on. Or maybe it's the right choice for him. I mean, you know, Aaron Rodgers cut off his family, and I mean, you can say didn't hurt his NFL career at all.
She used to babysit him as a child. Now, that's odd.
That's weird. They found her name's Caitlin Hutchinson. They found her on LinkedIn, and according to her LinkedIn profile, she graduated from the University of Alabama in 2018. Kyle didn't even enroll in college at Duke until 2022.
Interesting, man.
It's just really bizarre, and I got to imagine more details will come out on that. But yeah, everyone going, how the hell did he slide to the second round?
That's why.
And teams are saying that's why. There's a lot going on, and we wanted no part of that.
Very interesting. Creepy.
Finally, Woodsy, you look a little tired over there.
A little tired.
Have you had your caffeine yet?
I did have my caffeine this morning.
What'd you have?
I was thinking about re-upping. I go coffee, and I mix it with a little collagen protein and some MCT powder.
Love that MCT powder.
From Bubs. Why Bubs? Simply the best.
Well, if you're looking to switch things up, I've got a new way to get you caffeinated.
Okay.
5 Hour Energy. I've had 5 Hour Energy.
I have too.
I'm okay
They're
with
adding
it.
caffeine to it. What?
But you don't have to just drink little shot bottles that they have now, because they have just debuted a caffeinated barbecue sauce.
Oh, delicious. Barbecue sauce. Yeah, remember that picture I used to post when Tim Hill would pitch of the Monster Energy ham?
This is perfect. With 5 Hour Energy barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I like to take Monster Energy ham, make little ham rolls, dip it in the 5 Hour Energy barbecue sauce.
So have your
Martinez
coffee in
might
the morning.
like this too.
Yeah.
You can have your coffee in the morning, but maybe you get a little tired, a little come down in the afternoon.
Yeah,
towards
have some
dinner.
ribs.
You get a little hungry.
Sandwich.
Yeah, a little caffeinated barbecue sauce. They just unveiled it. It's a new product for the summer. They are giving away 12-ounce bottles through their website. They had a drop yesterday. It sold out very quickly. They're doing 3 more drops on July 2nd, which is Tuesday, July 9th, and then July 16th. So the next 3 Tuesdays. There's one flavor, peach mango.
Ooh, I like that.
I think that sounds
Sweet
pretty good.
barbecue sauce, yeah.
Yeah. And each serving is 60 milligrams of caffeine, which is about as much as a weak cup of coffee. An average cup has 95, so
it's a light boost.
It's like a caffeinated
it's like a bump,
soda,
basically. Yeah, just a bump of barbecue
bump
sauce.
of barbecue.
Yeah,
sauce.
just a little. Yeah,
Seems completely unnecessary.
It does.
To have a product.
Maybe we can throw some of that on a grand old
Caffeinated.
barbecue at summer break.
Caffeinated barbecue sauce.
see if you can get a bottle, Paulie. I'd like to get him.
remind me
I'd
of-
like to get him zooted on
On
5 Hour Energy
on a
barbecue
weak
sauce.
cup of coffee's worth of
Yeah.
caffeine.
Let's
I
try to
wanna get
remember
him
on
zooted.
Tuesday to apply for the drop.
Okay. Yeah, you have to apply to do it.
You just go on their website and sign up if
All right.
they're available.
Do it, and we'll see if we can get some for summer break.
Done.
You guys remember summer break's right around the corner. Ben and Wood's summer break. During the All-Star break, there's nothing going on.
So we give up all of our guests, all our baseball guests. It's their break as well.
It's their break.
Jesse Agler, Adam Jones, Sammy. We just take the week off.
We just party in here.
I think Friday we got back to normal.
Yeah.
Because Padres have a game that day.
Yeah,
but
we just party for a few days. in
Monday
here.
through Thursday, it's going to get weird.
It gets really weird. Ben hates it
now,
so much.
I'm sure it's probably not going to happen, but I feel like we should go on a field trip for one of those days.
I'd be down
because
for
summer
that.
camp usually involves one of the days you go on a field trip, like to a water park or something like that.
Do a remote broadcast?
Yes,
I'd be
from
down.
somewhere like summer fun in the morning.
Can we just do it at the beach, you think? We got Wi-Fi.
A beach? Why not?
Yeah, I guess we could.
You know what I thought would be really awesome? And I think you can get Wi-Fi because it doesn't go that high up. Hot air balloon. Radio
Absolutely
show
not.
Absolutely
from
no
a hot
chance.
air
Nope,
balloon.
That is a bad idea.
Bad idea.
You don't like that idea?
No.
Not a chance.
4 hours
You
in a
can
hot
do
air
it.
balloon?
You can do it.
All right, I'll do it.
We'll get you a little webcam.
No?
We
No one
just
will
had-
join me?
We just had this conversation.
All right, Mike Shildt is coming up
Oh,
next
boy.
on The Fan. It is a Friar Friday here on 97.3 The Fan. The Padres and the Boston Red Sox coming your way at 4:10 this afternoon with the 3:10 EcoWater SoCal pregame show. And as we do each and every Friday at 9 a.m., it is time for our Manager's Report with Mike Shildt, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It's better. And joining us from Boston, Massachusetts, the manager of the Padres, Mike Shildt. And Mike, I just have to say, this last week was very impressive for your team to deal with the setbacks of injuries at the end of a long stretch of games with almost no days off, to play like you did through those last two series, especially against the Washington Nationals. I know you tip your cap occasionally. I'm going to tip my cap to you and the San Diego Padres, sir. What a nice week that was.
Yeah, it was a good week. Guys played well, and contributions throughout, and it was a really good week, and now we build on it and move on.
He's just buttering you up, Skip, because I was going to ask you, how close is the nearest Chipotle to your hotel?
Oh, man, you guys staying with the theme. I actually did not get Chipotle yesterday. I got Five Guys, so I went really off the chart.
Oh,
I like
all
Five
right.
Guys.
Five Guys is good. It's pricey, but, you're a major league manager. You have a per diem. I'm assuming that's pretty good. No, you know what? The first thing I thought of, that series, obviously, was electric. It was electric. It was electric. It was wild. It was like a baseball fan's dream. I mean, it really was. It had everything. But when I saw you get ejected the other day, the first thing I thought of was, all right, John Boy, I want to see this ejection on the next time I open Twitter, because that was pretty electric, Skip.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot in that series. Obviously, a lot to unpack.
So much.
The whole homestand was pretty special. I created a lot of memories at Petco, but yeah, man, there was a lot going on. That ejection was, in my world, unnecessary relative to the situation, but anyway, made my point.
100%. And I did want to ask you, after the game, after cooler heads prevailed and everything, you had said, I don't necessarily think it was intentional in that case. And I mean, listen, I don't know it from Adam. I thought immediately as a fan was, oh yeah, he did that on purpose. What did you see, or based on, your experience, what made you think it wasn't intentional from Mackenzie Gore? Not that it matters now, but
I just like to think that, I don't know. I mean, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I watched his reaction. I mean, you can feign a reaction.
Sure.
I get that part. Like I said, Mackenzie, I got to know him when he was with us, and have a lot of respect for him, and, actually got to know his parents a little bit. We're both live in the same part of the world in Eastern North Carolina. So, I just, after everything, whatever point they felt like they needed to make, which, again, don't want to overly revisit it, didn't particularly understand it, but, I got my own club to think about. They made, their catcher made it. And, we clearly exchanged words, and people came out and, did the dance. And at that point, in my world, it's over. Now, whether he still, after all that, decided to hit him, only he and maybe a couple people in that club really, really know. But, I'd hate to think that was the case, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But either way, intentional or unintentional, he's got to go. And somehow, after all that, and the warnings get, issued, somehow he gets hit and he gets to stay in the game. And I got to go. But,
100%.
We overcame it.
It's not just you can't throw at him intentionally. It's like you better make sure you don't hit him, whatever you do. And if you do, you are now responsible for whatever happens. I totally agree, Mike. Mike Shildt is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. I've got a question, and I don't know, as a manager, when you guys get bad news about Tatis and the stress reaction and Yu Darvish not going to be able to come back, how do you address that with your team? I know you got pros and they're used to dealing with injuries and stuff like that, but how do you not let that become here we go again, like, oh, that's more bad news we got to deal with? What do you do as a manager when those things come up during a season?
I mean, they come up. I mean, I don't, I think the public, at least for me, there's not like these team meetings, like, they're just not. I mean, we've been in the game a long time. Unfortunately, injuries happen. like I said, losing Toddy and Joe and Bogey and Hugh and some of the gang, Manny at certain times. It's disappointing. It's a challenge, but that's ultimately what this game's about how you respond to challenges, and you don't want to support those guys, but really you just you continue to figure out a way to compete with the group that you have, and everybody is locked into making sure they are ready to contribute, and of course some roles change and people get opportunities, and that's what this game's about, and it's about seizing the opportunity.
No question. And one of the guys that has done that, talking to Mike Shildt here on Ben and Woods this morning, one of the guys has done that is Kyle Higashioka. What a joy it's been to watch him play. I know he had a tough situation thrust upon him when he got here. Took him a little while to get going and get some ABs, because Campy was in there and he was catching Waldron and wasn't getting a lot of opportunity. Talk about a guy that's made the most of his opportunities right now. And you'd never know if he went 0 for 4 or, 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. He's just a very even-keeled guy. How much does that help, your pitching staff when he's working with them?
Well, lots to unpack. So where do you want me to start?
Just with Kyle, like how him seizing the opportunity, his kind of temperament too in the clubhouse, and what he's like as a member of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, he's been a great addition. Got a lot of great feedback from New York people, people in the industry I've known, people who played with him, about just how just quality a guy is as a starting point, and then clearly a good player and what his skill sets are. And he's really stepped up and done a nice job for us. He's a really stoic guy, really smart guy, got a good IQ, got a good way about him, got a good sense of humor with how he goes about things. Just a really, really, really good guy in the clubhouse, but also clearly a good player, and he stayed patient. He got his opportunities early on, not as many as maybe he would have liked. And, with Campy looking to be our everyday catcher and giving him those opportunities to prove his way, in the big leagues and establishing himself as that guy. And then, over the course of time, started to create a little bit more opportunities for him, which he's done more than earned. And of course, with Higgy going on, or Campy going on the IL, creates even more for him. And he's just done a nice job, and clearly some really big hits for us.
He feels like one of those guys as a manager, that you don't, like. He's good. Like, your attention.
Don't need to worry about him.
Yeah, like, you don't have to go, like, I don't know. That's just my perception of, we've interviewed him a couple times. He's a great dude, but he just feels like one of those guys as a skipper. You don't have to constantly, you good? Everything okay?
Low pulse rate.
Yeah, low heartbeat, and just can kind of walk by, hey, Higgy, hey, Skip. And, he's in the lineup and doing his job.
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, we got a lot of guys like that. I mean, we got a really pretty professional clubhouse that, we just are able to communicate with. And, I spend a lot of time with our catchers, with our pitching coaches, and Brian Esposito does our catching and helps me during the games. We have a lot of communication, and I've enjoyed the communication with Campy and Higgy and now Sully about, how we're leading our staff and how we're seeing the game.
It's good to see Eggy back, Eggy Rosario. Obviously, there was some talk. He's got a great arm, but he's an infielder by trade. And with Toddy out, you might need some spots in the outfield. They said, might work on that. What does that look like, though? I mean, most of the time you get to the big leagues, you kind of know how to play a position. What kind of instruction goes on to maybe get a guy ready to play out of position, so to speak, if you want to get his bat into the lineup, especially against lefties, where he really does some good damage?
Yeah, he swings the bat good against lefties. Had a big swing the other day, to get inning started. Start off a 2-run inning, double off the wall against the lefty. He does do really well against lefties. So, we're just trying to be creative with what that looks like, where that bat can play. There's always a balancing act between the offense and defense, at least for me. Defensive run saved are just the ones important, the ones you drive in, but always want to try to get the bat in the lineup to do some damage appropriately, and perhaps an opportunity for him in the outfield. He's never, when I say never played outfield, but Jackson hadn't really either. So but it's a hard place to just pick up and learn, and he's getting some work with Dave Macias, our outfield coach, and see what that looks like, and we'll see if there's an opportunity that presents itself to get him out there.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, boy, you guys haven't had any trouble closing out games when Robert Suarez comes in to, throw 6-9 fastballs by guys and, call it a day. But closing out some of the other games been a little bit of a challenge, Skip. The 8-0 that turned into 8-5 the other day had to make your little bit of hair turn gray for you. How do you?
Did I got a little bit of hair?
Yeah, you got a little bit of hair, right? And the hair that's remaining turns gray.
I thought I got pretty good hair.
You got good hair.
Yeah, decent hair, actually.
A little bit of hair. It's not great hair, but it's not a little bit.
So for you, when that happens, I mean, it's an empty feeling, certainly, and you want Cosgrove to be able to just get through that and not have to get Suarez up. Would you tell us a little bit about what kind of you're going through with that? It's happened just a couple of times. I know it happens to all teams, but it's certainly got to be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you really want me to say. I mean, it's happened a few times. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I don't know how to answer the question. So
throw strikes or get electrocuted. I think that's what he wants to hear.
Right. Yeah, I think so, man. It's the ninth inning, could be a challenge to get the last 3 outs. And, it's the easiest thing in the world, like when people say, oh, my gosh, you got a 4-run lead, don't use your closer.
Right.
And then you got to use your closer or you give it up, and it's like, so couldn't get it done. They had some at-bats. The leadoff walk didn't help the cause. They had 2 3-and-out hits to the right side. And I don't know. I mean, I'd prefer to talk about the 8 innings where we didn't give up any runs.
Absolutely.
We played really well. But, that's just part of it, man. Sometimes those last 3 are hard to get. We had it in Kansas City. We've had it, earlier in the season, with a 6-0 lead. But we ended up having to use Robert. And, like I said, it's just people can say what they want about the last 3 outs, but it's an acquired taste to get people to learn to get them. And that's the other point to the conversation. You got to learn it. And that's a learning curve in the ninth that people don't really want to deal with the lead. But if you don't give those guys those opportunities, they don't learn from them. So it's that's 22.
See, you crushed that answer. Yeah. You knew how to answer that question. It was
you
great.
know what he's crushed also, Mike? You've always explained how you manage real people in the real world that are, not always feeling 100% or tired. It's a long season. There's not a lot of days off. As fans, especially me, I'm a radio host. I manage on paper, in my mind. Sure. And I look at the off days coming up. You had one yesterday. You got one Monday. You got 2 more next week. And I look, well, maybe you could, get Dylan Cease out there. He's pitching so well and move him up a day. How do you look at that in that equation? Is there no thought, I don't want to move him up. I want to give him those extra days off? Or is that something you might look at here before the All-Star break with now the extra off days that you've got coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we'd be irresponsible not to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So we do. Me and Ruben look at it. We partner with AJ in the front office, and we also talk to our players. And it's not it's not in a vacuum. It's right. What can be best for Dylan Cease is X. What can be best for Michael King is Y. What's best for Matt Waldron is Z. Vasquez, Mazur, etc. And so, individually you can say, yeah, we could do this with Dylan. Oh, but how does that impact Michael? And how does that impact Matt? And what do we got on Adam and Randy? So, we put it all together and figure out, the balancing act of making sure that, the competition is taken care of, the rest is taken care of, and then, of course, the short term versus the long term of what that can look like. And we do our best we can to balance all that. And we've had some, like I say, conversation with them and some internal conversations, and we put the best plan that we can lay out there together with all the variables.
Mike, I really appreciate it. Before you go, any updates on you, Darvish? I know we saw Xander Bogaerts taking some batting practice before you guys went on the road trip. Just kind of overall general health updates on your team?
Yeah, so, it looks like Darvish, the imaging is negative, so it's positive. Nothing overly alarming with that. I do think he was going to seek another image, which is pretty standard. And then it's just a matter of getting inflammation out, which is the biggest culprit, it feels like right now. What's taking place in his elbow, getting it out and getting to where he can play catch and recover. The longer he stays away, the longer it's going to, longer you can't throw, the longer it's going to be for him to get back. So no real, great timeline there. Bogey's trending in a really good place. Going to have another scan soon, CT scan that'll determine how much further he's healed. The most recent one was favorable. Looks like he's a little bit ahead of schedule, but the next one will be the one that allows us to determine with him how much he can ramp up. But the good news is he's taking ground balls, he's taking some swings, and then, like I say, relative to the next one will be how much the volume you can take to where you can start to get some live at bats and potentially rehab and get back, working with us. So good news on that front. He's with us, obviously, in his return to Boston, so I'm sure that'll be bittersweet for him. But I know this organization is going to do something to reward his really productive time here.
Arise back from his ouchie?
We're determining that.
Determining that one, okay. And have fun managing at Fenway Park. I mean, that's got to be kind of special for anybody gets to go in there. It's a temple of baseball history.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I love coming here, and I'm right here in the dugout right now looking at this beautiful field.
Awesome.
So life is good, very blessed.
All right, well, have a good one.
Thanks,
good series, and keep up the good work. As we said, very impressive week, and we'll talk to you. Actually, 2 weeks. You got next Friday off with the 4th of July holiday, so we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, Skip.
Oh, you guys aren't working?
No, we're not working.
Yeah, we're taking a 4-day weekend,
off,
of course.
Man.
Like,
Oh,
we're not baseball players.
We play, and you guys, country club. Okay,
right.
all right. Well,
believe it.
I'll see you next month.
I'll see you next month.
There we go. All right, All-Star break. There we go. That sounds good. Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres, absolutely right.
His
We
voice.
are not. We are lazy.
He like perked up. He goes,
Got one.
I don't get those days off.
No.
Just you guys, huh? You take the extra long weekends.
I guess he's volunteering to do summer break with us then when he's on his break.
Oh, he will be on break.
That's right.
All right, we could turn this around
Yeah.
on here in a couple
you're
weeks.
taking an entire All-Star break off
Really?
here. What?
Well,
Wow.
we're here.
We took
We're
2 days.
here.
You're taking 4. Wow.
You guys aren't playing.
Oh, yeah, we'll throw that back at him.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about Friday. All-Star break's coming up. You know who's working, right?
We are.
That would be us.
Should have him in. That'd be awesome.
Give him a rundown. 5:30.
5:30. See you here. Yeah.
Liners to read. Just the
Can you
whole
imagine?
shooting match for Mike Shildt.
It'd be so much fun. So much fun. No, he's great. He's great. He gets so mad.
Oh, yeah. What do you want? I love the.
I love.
How do you want me to answer? How do you want me to answer
Well,
that
then
one?
you just knocked it out of the park. He had a great answer.
He does.
It's great.
It's his way of saying that's not a well-worded question.
I know.
It's-
I know. I know. I know.
All right, we'll come back. We'll react to what you just heard. We got a couple of segments left for this week. Looking forward to the weekend, of course. It's Ben Woods. We'll check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Famous Ill Day in the chat says, it feels like beef between Woods and the skipper. Do you get the sense that there's beef? I think he hates me. I don't think there's any beef. I like him.
No.
Is beef
actually
two-sided?
Yes, there is. It's not beef. I think you
annoy him.
Yeah, beef means like two going back to fourth.
Oh, I love him.
You love him.
I love him.
He just hates you.
Yeah, that's not beef.
That's not beef.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, do you hate me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
He's honest.
Yeah,
sometimes.
That's fine. I'm honest too.
He's not that honest, though. He was holding out on us.
He was holding out on
because
us.
apparently the Padres will be making a roster move today. And they already made another one earlier today. First one, as reported by Kevin Acee. Padres will have a new left-hander in their bullpen today. Austin Davis, who's appeared in 136 MLB games for 4 teams, will come up after a strong showing in AAA as El Paso's closer recently has allowed 4 runs in his past 20 innings pitched. Corresponding move yet to be announced. Wouldn't feel great if I was Tom Cosgrove. In fact, I might not even be with the team if I was Tom Cosgrove right now. He came up after doing a good job at AAA. That ninth inning, though, is not what the Padres need. They need someone who can spare the rest of the bullpen, not force them to get Adrian Morejon and Robert Suarez up and active in the ninth inning when you got an 8-run lead. I could be wrong. It could be someone else. It could be an injury. Don't know. And then what did you just told me? Old friend alert.
Yeah, I was scrolling Instagram, and I saw a picture of Nabil Crismatt in a San Diego Padres uniform, and I went, oh, he's, Throwback Friday, Flashback Friday when I was on the Padres. And no, it says, I'm very happy to announce I'm back with the San Diego Padres. Looking forward to this new chapter. See you all soon. Interesting.
Major league? Minor league? Don't know. Padres faced him earlier this year when he hooked on with the L.A. Dodgers. Hadn't really been keeping up with Nabil's status, but
got released by them. Went to Texas. I think.
He was just released by Texas like 3 days ago.
Looking for a home again, man. Looking for a place that he can get some opportunity to pitch. He's Nabil Crismatt.
Well liked,
very well liked
in the Padres clubhouse. There's no doubt about that.
We're bringing back all the vibes, guys. Who's next?
Jorge Alfaro. I don't know what the hell happened with him and Bob Melvin at the end of the 2022.
Yeah, something.
But the vibes were strong leading up to the playoffs.
Looks like he's,
so it's a 4:10 first pitch, which means lineups probably around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Probably roster announcements around the same time. Now we know Mike Shilt's already there in the dugout, he said, at Fenway Park, getting some early soaking in the history of the Green Monster and such early in the day. Yeah, and they always have early meetings for the series opener. You got your hitters and pitchers meetings to go over matchups and who they're going to be facing throughout the series.
Like, one of the main things this team needs is a mop-up guy, and nobody's really snagged that job. Kolek didn't do it. Cosgrove didn't do it.
Now, Kolek has been pitching well lately.
No. In mop-up.
That's true, yeah.
He's actually...
He's better when they actually put him in higher leverage situations.
Leverage, he's been better.
Yeah, good point.
So, Nabil Crismatt, welcome to mop-up duty. He's probably not joining the Major League roster, Ben, I would imagine. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Nabil, but he has posted on his Instagram that he is, in fact, back with the San Diego Padres. We don't know what level. We don't know what it entails.
He's kind of the pitching version of Jurickson Profar.
Yeah.
Always comes back home after struggling elsewhere. He's back home again. What if he really is the pitching version of Jurickson Profar? And he shows up, and all of a sudden, Nabil Crismatt rolls off like 42 consecutive scoreless innings or something. That would be Jurickson-like on the mound this year.
Very interesting.
That seems overly optimistic.
It does, but stranger things have happened.
I'm curious to see who's going to be starting. Now, you could tell from Mike Shilt's answer that he's not ready to be comfortable with Eggy Rosario out in right field.
Correct.
And there's no lefties in the in the hopper for the opposing pitchers, so they have maybe some time. I would imagine Eggy will mostly serve as a pinch hitter for now against left-handed relievers on this road trip, if he does get an opportunity, but wouldn't expect him in the starting lineup necessarily. Then again, Bryce Johnson every single day can't really be the answer either, as you're just until Tatis is back, we got Bryce Johnson. He's going to be out there every day. You got to find something a little bit more promising than that.
I bet you see David Peralta in there tonight. Get some of the lefties in there. They love matchups and whatnot.
I'm okay with Tyler Wade out there. Good things seem to happen when Tyler Wade's in the game.
Crazy, right? Crazy. What a role he's found on this team.
He has.
Yeah. Good player.
If you missed it,
good role player.
Early this morning, we got to do a mid-season catch-up and chat with our good friend, Major Garrett from Washington, D.C., Padres fan extraordinaire and chief Washington correspondent for CBS News. We thought it was good enough that we would bring it back here in our final segment of the week, our conversation with Major Garrett, coming up next here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got a birthday boy at the station today. It's funny that you remembered his birthday, but you didn't remember mine last time.
That's true.
When you put it that way.
And you're not even his co-host, and he's only worked here for the last few months.
Yeah.
Now he came on our show every Friday for several years.
That's right.
So I'll give you some credit for that. Just came up on social media, though.
Yeah, I did.
Happy birthday to Craig Elston of the Annie and Elston Show that's following us right here on 97.3 The Fan.
Still can't get over the fact that we forgot his birthday. I'm just not going to put it on me exclusively, me and Paul.
Oh, yeah.
We totally bricked.
And all the
so
tier
bad.
ones and my family. And
Did your
and
family
me.
forget?
It's probably my fault, right?
Did your family forget?
No, they forgot to tell you.
They forgot to tell me.
Yeah.
They
didn't forget my birthday, but they forgot to tell you about my birthday.
Yeah.
And I was actually the greatest gift I ever received was you forgetting about my birthday.
Yeah, because you have that to lord over.
Exactly.
Me for
It's the best present I could have gotten. Something to lord over Woods moving forward.
You can literally, anytime you want, just be like, hey, you remember that time that you forgot my birthday? That really hurt.
It always feels like a birthday present when we get some time with Major Garrett. Oh, it's
100%.
always an enjoyable Padres conversation. We had that opportunity this morning, despite every busy thing going on in Washington right now. Washington, CBS News chief correspondent Major Garrett with Ben and Woods will bring you that conversation right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
What a big difference from yesterday, guys. Yeah, that coastline is looking good. Southbound 5 out of Orange County all the way down, which is good because a lot of folks are going to be heading to the fair later today. Only problem we've got right now is westbound 8 just past Tavern Road. A big rig whose brakes caught fire. It's over the right shoulder. Doesn't seem to be causing much slowing in that area. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, live from D.C., our pal, one of the biggest, if not the biggest Padre fan we know, Major Garrett. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Man, we are good. We are good. Just, it needed the night off last night. It's been a whirlwind around Petco Park the last few weeks.
I'm just laughing. You guys had a night off. I didn't have a night off.
No, last night was not a night off for you. I told the guys earlier, I said, I watched 5 minutes, and then I went and I watched Silence of the Lambs and I felt a little bit better about the future of our country.
Exactly. Or Full Metal Jacket or something.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket,
yeah,
exactly.
like that.
Exactly. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. Look, I think, probably where a lot of your audience is. I'm excited about where this team is. I mean, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, you don't have Darvish for most of the first half. You don't have Musgrove. You don't have Bogarts. And you've got 44 wins, same as the Braves. Only two teams have more wins than the Padres, the Phillies and the Dodgers. Would you take that?
Yeah.
And I would say yes.
Good perspective.
Not to mention dramatically better performance with runners in scoring position, dramatically better performance in close games, dramatically better performance in extra inning games, leading the major leagues in bunt base hits. Not a statistic we typically celebrate, but one that's important about how you put pressure on another team. I like where we are. I really do.
Good morning, Major. It is good to talk to you as always. My question to you is, has Mike Shildt been what you've expected he was going to be as the Padres manager?
Better.
Okay.
Better. I fully expected that he would be rigorous on preparation process and team unity, and he has been. What I have been very surprised on the upside with is not only his ability to put that in the clubhouse, translate that from the clubhouse to the field, and then talk to the Padre public about why it's working and not to freak out when you feel like freaking out, because all of us are traumatized by the memories of last year. I know Bob Melvin is a very respected and accomplished manager. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Shildt has a more positive and more direct explanation for what he's doing, why he believes it will work, and why he's not going to be deterred. And for a fan base, I think that's super important. It's not only important for the fan base, it's important for the players to know that the manager has their back and will talk to the public about what's going on in a way that supports them, reinforces them, and is credible. And I think Shilt's very good at all those things.
You know, and it's funny, talking to Major Garrett here, I try. We have him on every Friday. And I try to get him to say nothing. I'm not asking him to be negative or throw one of his guys under the bus. But I will try to get him to say just, yeah, we could improve in that area. He won't do it. And
anything critical.
Anything critical. I do understand the reasoning behind it. And I think Padre fans, a lot of them do as well. You've seen this clubhouse, splinter the last couple of seasons. You've seen, the like everything fall apart and they go off a cliff. I kind of understand the reasoning of, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to pat these guys on the butt. I'm going to pat them on the back, especially in public. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors, certainly. We're not privy to that, and he's not going to share it, and Manny won't share it, and Jurickson won't share it. They're really tight-lipped this year. That's one thing I have noticed. You're not hearing any whispers coming out of, uh-oh, a lot of, this guy's mad at this guy. I find that it's quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite, but I thought Jurickson Profar gave a very important interview to Kevin Acee last week before the Padres got on their good run. And he said the team needs to play better. The team needs to have more leadership and execute better and win winnable games. Profar said that as an emerging team leader. He wouldn't have said it if he didn't believe that Manny would back him up on that, and Mike Shildt was okay with that. It's better when the players give that kind of interview, particularly a all-star caliber player, as Jurickson Profar undoubtedly is this season. Having him say it and having no one in the clubhouse refute it or talk behind his back or anyone go to Shildt and say, what do you think about that? It all felt consistent, even though it was, at the margins, critical of how the Padres came off that road trip, deservedly so. That's another dynamic that I think is important and reinforces that this team, for whatever set of reasons, and a lot of it comes to the manager, a lot of it flows to the players, is a much more coherent unit, much more collaborative unit. And look, success reinforces that. You get walk-off wins, you suddenly feel things are possible. You watch other teams walk you off, you start wondering if anything is possible. We've turned the corner on that.
Major, we also all tended to agree that Manny had a big leadership moment when he stepped in with Jurickson, behind home plate with Keibert Ruiz. And I don't know if there's any talk of the other side of this. People are curious, in Washington, D.C., you've got a bunch of things going on, probably other than listening to sports talk radio or commentary on what happened this week. But it felt like a perhaps at least a defining moment for this clubhouse and for Manny Machado in particular as well. What happened against the Washington Nationals earlier this week?
So Nats fans, and I sort of dip in and out of that world. I'm a nominal Nats fans because my kids grew up here in D.C. and I freed them. I said, you have a hometown team. It's a great thing in life is to be able to root for your hometown baseball team. I'm raising you as Padre fans. I'm now releasing you. We didn't have a ceremony, but I kind of communicated that to them, So I dip in and out of the Nats. Nats fans are not big on Keibert Ruiz. They don't think he's a strong defensive catcher. Offensively, he's kind of a wash. And they thought he stepped way out of his lane. And I, for one, do not understand how an umpire in the major leagues can watch a player touch another player at home plate and not throw him out immediately. You cannot do that. Under any circumstance, you cannot take your mask off, get in another player's face, and start poking him in the chest. Why is he still in the game?
Yeah.
And that's why Manny came up, because he saw Jurickson was doing the thing he told everyone afterwards. I'm not going to get thrown out of this game. I'm not going to lose my cool. But Manny came in and said, hey, you can't touch my guy.
I love
and
that.
Then Profar gets hit and everyone, is it intentional or not? He got hit. You gave warnings. Something should have happened. And then you run Shildt. So then Manny is right in this moment where everyone is really pissed off. Everyone is pissed off in that stadium. I'm freaking angry at home, 3,000 miles away. First pitch, in the seats, take that and fill in your own expletives, okay?
Well, speaking of expletives, what Jackson Merrill said about it after was that's how you effing lead. I'm not saying he had to hit homer, but right there off the bat, effing first pitch, ready to go. That's how you effing lead right there. That's effing electric. I love this kid, too. I love this kid. You hear when Manny was slumping a couple of weeks ago, all you heard was, oh, he's a terrible leader, terrible leader, terrible leader. And I'm like, man, he's clearly rubbed off on Jackson Merrill. He's clearly hitting the ball better. Maybe he's feeling better. We all kind of knew.
Right.
I kind of knew it's going to come. He's got it in him. And I think the power is still going to come for Manny, hopefully this weekend. But I thought that was really special, man. The young.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was by far the most electric moment of the season. I hope there are moments that will come close to that, but I don't think anything can surpass that in that moment. And look, Major League Baseball lives and dies on the margins of centimeters. A month ago, Manny gets that same pitch and fouls it back.
Yep.
He's just off a tick. That night, he was dialed in, saw it, hit it, and that shows that his work, his progress is getting him closer to the player that all Padre fans remember and want to see again.
So, Major, now as the calendar switches to July, the trade deadline is coming up in a few weeks, and the Padres, like most teams right now, are going to be in the market for some help. They're not going to be able to afford everything, though. Starting pitching would be nice. Another bullpen arm would be nice. And with Tatis out, for an extended period of time, another bat would be nice. Assuming they can't do all of that, where's your priority lie as a Padres fan?
Look, I am stung. I have been stung the past 2 years by outsized expectations about the players we bring in changing things. And we have to look at Jackson Merrill and take pride in our player development. He's ours. We developed him. He's a star, already a star. Remember that. Not only is he a star, he's cheap, okay? We developed him himself. That's what you get. You don't have to give anything up. You have to pay huge free market ransom for a player like that. I don't want to say stand pat because that's not what A.J. Preller is going to do, but I don't want any of our remaining top prospects traded. I just don't. I want them to stay in the pipeline. I want them to believe in their process of player development and harvest them as we did Jackson Merrill. Watching C.J. Abrams reminded me of what a great player he is, how much this roster would be different. And let's be honest, when Bogaerts and Tatis and Musgrove and Darvish come back, as we all hope they will, that'll be like making a trade.
Yeah, we hope. I mean, I feel like I've delivered that line to our audience many times as well over the last couple of years. And they bought on the margins last year. That didn't work out. I thought Scott Barlow was fine. But if you could find a way to grab another Scott Barlow, somebody like that can shore up, the back end-ish of your bullpen, I think that's okay. But when it comes to Salas and DeVries and the huge splashy move, I'm with you. I watched Leo Dallas the other day hit his first home run. We talked about it off the air. Pitch up in the zone. Dude, he hammered this thing and then had the emotion, looked at the dugout. I was like, oh, that kid is 17 years old, 18 years old. I've watched Ethan Salas in person, and I thought to myself, no. We need to be patient with these guys. But honestly, after those two, I'm like, all right, we can continue to make moves as long as people.
But everyone's going to ask for those two.
I know.
Everyone's going to ask for those two.
I know.
And we just got to say, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, stand pat. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Major, really appreciate it. I know you've got a very busy schedule with everything that's going on, but I can tell that our listeners were extremely, extremely enthusiastic to hear from you this morning and appreciate your perspective. As always, it's a great one, and thank you so much for your time.
I'm always here for you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Fun conversation as always. And by the way, we're talking about that National Series. Just had some news during that replay that the Nationals are set to promote former Padre prospect James Wood. He's going to make his Major League debut, they say, on Monday, which I think is polite that they didn't do it last week and bring him right up and shove him in the Padres' face. C.J. Abrams is doing well. Mackenzie Gore is doing pretty well. You can't say that the Nationals did poorly in the Juan Soto trade. If they had to trade Juan Soto, they've done pretty well with the pieces they got back, and this will be another big addition for them going forward. So.
Yeah, I mean, better than we have so far, I think, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, they turned Juan Soto.
We made it to the NLCS in the last 2 years since the trade.
Got to the NLCS, and they've turned Juan Soto into some much-needed pitching. Michael King's been pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see Randy Vasquez tonight. By the way, Randy Vasquez
was okay last time.
Is pitching a little bit better. Johnny Brito's going to be stretched out in the minor leagues to get into some starting. And Kyle Higashioka is the hottest catching hitter in all of baseball right now.
Number 2 in OPS in the big leagues or something.
In the month of June, he's been incredible. So it's not like the Padres didn't get anything for Juan Soto, and they also had a year and a half of Juan Soto that we got to enjoy and watch. So sometimes trades work out okay for both teams. I mean, could you undo it and have those guys back? Probably would be the best case scenario, but you can't. You move forward and do the best you can with what you had. So that's what we know, and we'll move forward. So, by the way, congratulations. I want to say thank you to the Tier 1s out there. We had John Flynn in earlier. He was raising money for the service animal for veterans, Paws for Purple Hearts, and they reached their goal. And I think it is big credit. A lot of Tier 1s responded, and they made it to their $35,000 goal to be able to train a service pet for a vet facing PTSD here in San Diego, which is very awesome.
How much did you give?
I was on the air. You can't give money while you're on the air.
You did? Yeah, I gave $100.
We were on the air. My mic was still on, and I was able to make a donation.
I gave my time and enthusiasm.
And your platform.
The most important commodities you can give, Woods. Anyone can just give money.
Right.
I gave time,
effort,
enthusiasm, a couple of witty remarks.
Yeah.
My witty remarks aren't free, Woods.
That's true.
They're valuable, and
they are valuable.
I used a couple of them to help John.
I think, though, what they were trying to raise, though, was money.
Witty remarks.
You're something else. You are something else.
His face went white when I asked him that. Big weekend plans?
No.
I'm going to try to play some golf. Would you like to play some golf?
Perhaps.
All right.
Yeah.
See what I can do.
Sounds good. We will be back for
I'm not even asking you anymore,
3 days
Paulie.
next week.
I would love
ahead
to play
of the
golf,
4th of
just
July
not on my
holiday.
precious weekend.
At 6 a.m.?
Birthday boy and Annie
down
coming
the
up.
street from your house.
Coming up next for Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.